Chapter 321. Commitments. Before the 100,000 mountains incident, Yang Chen had also asked a question before the elders. If the value was not worthwhile. Now, it seems to be a reappearance of the same scene. Of course, the elders were tempted to have control of the banyan tree immortal's cave. With the inheritance cultivation methods, it would mean that it would be easy to add the hundreds of thousands of monster cultivators in the banyan tree cave to their sect. We must know that the Puryang Palace has only just reached the scale of more than 100,000 people. This was the result of vigorous expansion in recent decades. If they suddenly added hundreds of thousands of new forces, even if they exclude the less qualified cultivators, they could double the strength of their sect. Of course, if the power of the monster race was more than that of the human cultivators. This was by no means what the master and the elders were willing to see. However, even if they did not pull all the monster races to the Puryang Palace, they could control the sales and purchases of materials in the banyan tree, and they could bring in benefits dozens of times to the 100,000 mountains each year. The 100,000 mountains only covered a few thousand miles, yet the banyan tree cave directly radiates around tens of thousands of miles. It was not enough to know how many times larger the site was. Not to mention the fact that it was almost the only place where the surrounding monster race were doing business. The huge gains, needless to say, just thinking about it made them feel like drooling. The most important thing was that this banyan tree cave has been hidden very deeply, except for Yang Chen, it has not been discovered by human cultivators. The monster race who entered the Immortal's cave had made a vow on their monster soul and would never easily reveal the secret of the banyan tree cave. Such a secret treasure, now placed in front of everyone in the Puryang Palace, not to mention the elders, even the master of the palace, was eager to have a slice of it. This matter needs further consideration. After all, the master of the palace was still in charge of the palace, although it was tempting, it was also an important matter, and before Wang Yong crossed his tribulation, these things had to wait before making any plans, so he was still strong to suppress the impulse, as it needs further consideration. It doesn't matter if they have a long-term plan, as long as they have a plan. At the beginning for Yang Chen, he did not intend to take the banyan tree cave. He thought of the things after the expansion of the greatest heaven sect and took out the secret technique that controlled the banyan tree cave. Originally, the original secret technique was left by the original Immortal's cave owner to Yang Chen to collect the first wood true essence, but he could not bring such benefits to the Puryang Palace. Benefits for Yang Chen would never be too much, so was the same for the Puryang Palace. Since the problem of worry no longer exists, then everyone would have no difficulty in discussing the solution to the problem, and the elders' meeting would be dissolved. Yang Chen, what are your next plans? Before the departure of everyone, the palace master asked Yang Chen. When this question was asked, it caused all the elders who were planning to leave to stop and wait for Yang Chen's answer. Yang Chen, a disciple, never let them take care of him, but he could still bring unexpected surprises to them every time. Yang Chen's whereabouts, especially Yang Chen's safety, was now of the most concern for them. However, since Yang Chen could kill the second city lord who was a master of the daching stage without any scars on his whole body, basically on this issue, everyone also felt a lot easier. Therefore, Yang Chen's plan was particularly curious to them. If he was planning to travel again or intended to have a closed-door cultivation in the sect for a while, everyone wanted to know. Blue Cloud sect Master Lu may have to visit in recent days, and it is related to this disciple. Disciples does not want to be rude, so I have to wait in the sect. Yang Chen thought and replied, moreover this disciple got a pill recipe from the monster race side, I will just try it out. I also want to refine the questioning inner heart pills of the Green Jade Immortal Island and exchange it for this disciple's fire seeds so that I can cultivate with it. Staying in the sect for the visit of the Blue Cloud sect Master Lu, then refine alchemy. This arrangement was good. In the sect, Yang Chen's safety does not have to be worried about, and refining the medicinal pills could promote the cooperation with the Green Jade Immortal Island again. Exchanging it for the fire seeds was also beneficial to Yang Chen cultivation. This arrangement was good. Everyone was very happy to leave as they were busy. Yang Chen stayed in the sect and began preparing the medicinal herbs to refine the inner sensing pill. Of course, there was a purpose for Yang Chen to say that he must wait in the sect for a while, maybe his master and senior sister would receive news to come back. However, after all, the plan was just a plan. Yang Chen thought that the Blue Cloud sect's people would visit soon, but he forgot that the Blue Cloud sect had obtained his promise and knew that the Puryang Palace would not refuse. This time they were not anxious to come immediately because of the agreement, but to find the medicinal herbs first. The Blue Cloud sect has also studied about the questioning inner heart pill, this level of medicinal pill, no big sect was able to produce it. The Greatest Heaven sect was also like the Green Jade Immortal Island, which allowed the sect's best alchemists to analyze and disassemble it. However, the results had made many people very disappointed. Everyone knew what kind of medicinal herbs was used by Yang Chen to refine the questioning inner heart pill, but no one understood the alchemy technique. It was precisely because of this that the Blue Cloud sect does not even ask Yang Chen what kinds of medicinal ingredients was needed for the questioning inner heart pill. The people have begun to prepare it already. Big sects are big sects for a reason, and their backgrounds are also amazing. Even if Yang Chen's refining of the questioning inner heart pill uses elixirs that have been mature for more than 10,000 years, the Blue Cloud sect could still produce a big part of the ingredients in a short time. However, after all, what Yang Chen needed was a 10,000 years spirit medicine and the tens of thousands of years mature herbs. Even if it was a big sect, it was not to say that it could be taken out immediately. Not everyone has Yang Chen's powerful medicine garden, so for the last few herbs, the Blue Cloud sect still took a while. To this end, the Blue Cloud sect also specially sent an elder to explain to the Pure Yang Palace and agreed on the date of the visit of the Blue Cloud sect. It was temporarily set for 3 years later. By then, Elder Hua Wanting, as well as Elder Shai Yan would accompany them, accompanied by the apprentice of the Elder Hua, Sun Qingxu. In addition to the deep cooperation between the two sides, there was another thing to discuss, which was the marriage of Yang Chen and Sun Qingxu. Because the last time the island master used it to cover up the secrets of her travels, the excuse of Zhanxian and Yang Chen's marriage was used, and the Pure Yang Palace could not be overthrown. So, this time, the Pure Yang Palace still had to hold their nose and recognize it. The biggest trouble of the palace master was how to let Yang Chen agree to it. He even deliberately found Yang Chen and discussed it with him. Now, with Yang Chen, the head of the palace, would not order him as the sect master, but discuss it with him, even though Yang Chen respects the master of the palace as always. I want the palace master to make me a promise. Yang Chen had no good idea about this. This time, Yang Chen had discovered that he has completely fallen in love with his master and was unable to extricate himself. If he couldn't be with his master, Yang Chen would be alone. Even if he was destined to hurt Sun Qingxu and Zhanxian, who were affectionate to himself, Yang Chen would not accept this kind of appearance. This was not Yang Chen's idea of forcing the palace master to press Gao Yu, but his own innermost feelings. If he couldn't let his master make a decision, Yang Chen would drag on. Anyway, Zhanxian was now a recognized Dao companion of his, but there has been no substantive action. Yang Chen and Zhanxian were just peers who had gained experience together once and then shared tea a few times. In the same way, there was not much contact with Sun Qingxu. All this was because Yang Chen has his master in his heart. The master of the palace was of course aware of Yang Chen's mind. In fact, all the high-ranking members of the Pure Yang Palace had seen Yang Chen's feelings for his master Gao Yu, which was beyond the teacher's sentiment. Everyone understood, but nothing was brought to light. Now Yang Chen finally understood himself and wanted to face his own feelings about his master. Therefore, before the matter with his master was resolved, Yang Chen would not promise anything, even if the Pure Yang Palace and the Green Jade Immortal Island had already announced the marriage of Yang Chen and Zhanxian. Your matters, wait for your master to come back and solve it yourself. The master of the palace was able to understand and understood it clearly. These things could not be solved by his orders. The only thing he has to do was that if Gao Yu also agrees, then he must transgress the laws of human relationships for this master and disciple and help relieve all the pressures on Gao Yu and Yang Chen, that was all. Sect Master Lu mainly postponed their visit. Yang Chen just happened to refine the medicinal pills in advance. The questioning inner heart pill's medicinal materials was ready-made. Yang Chen could complete the transaction with the Green Jade Immortal Island first and then get a batch of fire seeds to improve his strength. Yang Chen wanted to refine pills, of course, he would not avoid Zhu Chentao. Now Zhu Chentao of the Yuning stage has already vaguely achieved the strength of the third grade alchemist master. It's just that he couldn't maintain the success rate, but he was already moving in this direction. In time, he would be able to become a true third grade alchemist master. For this elder who gave himself a profound spirit furnace, Yang Chen was highly respected of, and even in the process of many alchemy, he cooperated with Zhu Chentao. This time's refining of the questioning inner heart pills, Yang Chen made no exception and brought Zhu Chentao in again. In addition to Zhu Chentao, there was Yang Chen, previous female servant, and now Zhu Chentao's disciple Holin. She had been in the foundation stage for decades. Holin, who has a handful of high-definition fire-controlling methods under the cultivation of Yang Chen, was now highly valued by the Pure Yang Palace Medicinal Hall. Apart from Yang Chen, if they were looking for someone to refine the Kai-seeking pill, now only Holin could refine it. This brought her a large number of sect contribution points, but also brought her a lot of spirit stones. With the spirit stones, she naturally could buy more herbs for more refining. Holin's alchemy level was also leaping forward. Holin knew better than anyone else where everything she got came from, so when she saw Yang Chen, there was no change because she was a disciple who belonged to the same peers now as Yang Chen. there was still a great deal of worship from her. After a simple greeting with Zhu Chentao and his apprentice, Yang Chen began to refine the questioning inner heart pills. This was the second time that Yang Chen was refining it in front of the two, but the two were still very focused. Any action by Yang Chen must be carefully observed. The questioning inner heart pill was very important, so Yang Chen was also dedicated to the refining process and could not give them any direct advice and could only wait until after for the two people to specifically ask for advice. Even so, each time they observed Yang Chen's alchemy, it seemed that there was a new understanding of alchemy for them. Zhu Chentao thought that he would have been in the peak Jitan stage all his life, but he did not expect that he could still form his nascent soul. What he also did not expect was that he could reach the level of the third grade alchemist master. One day, perhaps he might still be able to seize the realm of the fourth grade alchemist master. This has completely exceeded his expectations. This time, he was asked to refine the questioning inner heart pill by the Green Jade Immortal Island, so Yang Chen did not intend to carry out the second grade refining system. The first grade questioning inner heart pill, Yang Chen was already refining it for the third time, so it was easy and familiar to him. Moreover, his current cultivation base was several times higher than the first refining, and his realm had been upgraded one by one. The three spiritual powers were condensed, and the speed was naturally faster. At the time of the first refining, Yang Chen spent a year and 10 months, but this time, Yang Chen completed the refining process in only 1 year. One furnace of the questioning inner heart pill, Yang Chen, produced 35 pills, far more than the 20 that was promised to the Green Jade Immortal Island. When giving it to the head of the palace, Yang Chen handed over 35 questioning inner heart pills to the head of the palace, letting him handle it himself, and even took out 2 second-grade questioning inner heart pills to let the palace master give to the people of the Green Jade Immortal Island. In the end, the palace master decided to take out 27 pieces of the questioning inner heart pills and the 2 second-grade questioning inner heart pills to be handed over to the Green Jade Immortal Island. This quantity was still far more than the number promised, and the quality was higher. This was a strategy to make the Green Jade Immortal Island have a more important strategy for the Puryang Palace. A first-grade questioning inner heart pill had been so powerful, then how much more powerful would the second-grade questioning inner heart pill be? Yang Chen's status among the cultivators would only get higher and higher. And if they wanted to continue to cooperate with Yang Chen, they have to win over the Puryang Palace more. This was the purpose of Yang Chen and the head of the palace. These things were handed over to the head of the palace to deal with. The master of the palace would naturally use his full strength to fight for the maximum benefit. Now Yang Chen's mind has come to the inner sensing pill. The inner sensing pill's powerful function, before Yang Chen, has already been understood. Now that the medicinal materials were ready, Yang Chen would open the furnace again and refine this kind of monster race medicinal pills. Compared with the questioning inner heart pill, the difficulty of the inner sensing pill was almost reduced by at least 3 levels, and even Zhu Chentao may be successful in refining it. However, Yang Chen was not only pursuing success, but rather the second grade. With Yang Chen's current cultivation base, it was relatively safe to complete the second grade of this class of medicinal pills. Yang Chen did not have a strong intention to break through the third grade. He just wanted to know how the second grade of the inner sensing pill would be useful to human cultivators. The first refining was a little rusty. For the first grade inner sensing pill, Yang Chen spent half a year. Then Yang Chen did not stop at the slightest and directly carried out the refining of the second grade. It took another half a year to complete the second grade. After the furnace was opened, Yang Chen got 33 second grade inner sensing pills. Holding these inner sensing pills, Yang Chen could not wait to experience the medicine. However, when he just got out of the alchemy division, he met Qiaoming, the fierce Yang Hall master. Qiaoming was also at the peak of the Jitan stage. The last time Yang Chen sent him a praying mantis body to refine as a puppet and also sent him 2 thunder pomegranates, making him use it to pass the thunder tribulation, but Qiaoming has never broken through. He knew that he still had to stay at the peak of the Jitan stage. Yang Chen, my recent nascent soul formation is on the last level. What can you do to help? Qiaoming was very sincere and asked. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 322. Powerful Medicinal Pill. As the fierce Yang Hall master, Qiaoming also possessed the fire attribute spirit root. However, what was not in line with the fire attribute spirit root was his calm temperament. The high-ranking members of the Puryang Palace, including the elders and the palace master, were clear that Qiaoming was a good gentleman. It was rare to see Qiaoming take the initiative to offend people. Even if someone argued with Qiaoming, it was always Qiaoming's concession. However, Qiaoming's cultivation was not low, Jitan peak stage, along with his calm temperament, his popularity in the sect was very good, which was one of the reasons why he became the fierce Yang Hall master. According to Yang Chen's memory of the development in the past, Qiaoming would not be able to break through after 200 years, leading to the exhaustion of his life force, and then Gao Yu became the fierce Yang Hall master. Yang Chen, in this life, it seemed that everything was different. Different from the previous Pure Yang Palace, Gao Yu was different, the head of the palace was different, the elders were different, and even Qiaoming had changed. Especially after Yang Chen sent Qiaoming a praying mantis corpse of the Pequening stage and 2 thunder pomegranates, Qiaoming's thought had some changes. If he could break through, he would break through. If he couldn't break through, that was his fate. But with these 2 things, his mood was completely different. Thunder pomegranate could help absorb the power of thunder, which meant that as long as he could enter the stage of thunder tribulation, there was a great possibility of success in crossing, even if the thunder pomegranate absorbs a part of the thunder. Perhaps after becoming a Yuning stage master, he might not be comparable with those who relied on their own strength to cross the tribulation. However, the Yuning stage was still the Yuning stage, it was still a lot higher than the Peak Jidan stage. The questioning inner heart pill incident let Qiaoming see the hope and the road of the Yuning stage. Under this strong and intense stimulate, Qiaoming's cultivation base had once again broken through to the limit of the Jidan Peak stage. But he didn't know why, he always lacked when he was at the end of the threshold, he couldn't cross that step. This situation has been going on for several years, and of course, Qiaoming was not willing to stop at this last threshold. He consulted almost all the Yuning stage masters of the sect. Everyone couldn't give him a specific answer. After all, everyone's experiences were different and everyone's situations were different. The problems encountered were not the same, so there was no method that was accurate. After Yang Chen returned to the sect, the news of his refining was spread and Qiaoming's eyes lit up. When Yang Chen was a disciple in the Yishu manor, there was no problem of spiritual cultivation that he could not solve. Although it was only problems in the Kai refining stage, Qiaoming himself as a master of the Jidan Peak stage could not do this. Since Yang Chen had such a clear eye on cultivation and he had also read a lot of books, he may be able to know his own problems and point out his own breakthrough. If anyone else was in his position, a master of the Jidan Peak stage, moreover an elder plus his superior, to want to ask a younger generation junior, it must be considered for a long time. However, it was not a problem to put it on Qiaoming's body. Otherwise, how could he do a good job, because he could put down his body and ask him not to be ashamed. The first time Yang Chen finished refining the questioning inner heart pills, he only went to the palace master for a short time and then continued to retreat to refine, Qiaoming couldn't get a hold of him. This time, Qiaoming was waiting outside Yang Chen's alchemy cave. When Yang Chen went out, he saw Qiaoming and heard Qiaoming's problem. An elder with a higher authority came to consult him, Yang Chen, of course, must treat it with caution. However, after carefully listening to Qiaoming's understanding of his cultivation, Yang Chen frowned. There were 2 problems with Qiaoming. One was his calm temperament. This one he couldn't do anything about, the temperament of a person cannot be changed. The other was due to the fact that it was impossible to get his own cultivation base into a high level of control. He couldn't help but say that it was really the right time for Qiaoming to come. Yang Chen had just finished refining the inner sensing pills. He appeared in front of Yang Chen and he was born to give Yang Chen the objective to text the medicine. All master, this medicinal pill is called inner sensing pill, it is the monster race's medicinal pill. Yang Chen's hand had a bulging medicinal pill, which was a brown color. On the medicinal pill were 2 pill marks, the eye-catching pill mark seems to remind Qiaoming that this was a second-grade pill. Qiaoming didn't know what Yang Chen was holding was a medicinal pill, but he had a benefit. If he didn't know, he wouldn't say it and he didn't interrupt Yang Chen's words. He quietly waited for Yang Chen to explain. Inner sensing pill can increase the senses of people who take the pill by 10 times and have a more thorough understanding of their own spirit power. Yang Chen slowly introduced, but this kind of medicinal pill has a kind of side effect. The side effect is that after the sensory is increased by 10 times, any feeling, including pain, is also increased tenfold. After taking this medicinal pill, you will feel extreme discomfort and it may even be very painful. Yang Chen certainly wanted to reveal the ugly side effects up front, lest Qiaoming not know these and rashly consumes it. Maybe 10 times the pain the hallmaster can still bear it, but this is the second grade that this disciple made. This disciple does not know how many times the senses would be promoted. The implication was that the second grade of the inner sensing pill could definitely make people experience more than 10 times more pain than usual. This was not too clear to Yang Chen and Qiaoming could understand. Now Qiaoming was faced with such a choice, either to swallow the medicinal pill, to experience the flow of blood and spiritual strength, but also to endure tremendous pain. Either it would accumulate for a while and maybe it would lead to his success. Qiaoming stared at the medicinal pill in the hands of Yang Chen and hesitated for a while. One couldn't do anything about it. The way Yang Chen said it seems a little scary. Even if he was a master of the peak Jitan stage, he must carefully weigh it. After a long time, Qiaoming still did not speak, but his hand stretched out and pinched the second-grade medicinal pill in the hands of Yang Chen. After staring for a while, he no longer hesitated and sent the medicinal pill directly into his mouth. At the entrance of the medicinal pill, it directly turned into a heat flow and directly rushed into his lungs. Immediately, Qiaoming immediately felt that the heat had spread to his whole body. His whole body was warm and uplifted. Where there was a little bit of pain, he couldn't help but scream. However, this low-pitched groan was passed to Qiaoming's ear. It seemed like a bolt in the blue sky. Qiaoming never thought that his groan could be so loud. Actually, his ears were a little painful. Soon, all kinds of voices were heard in his ears: breathing, heartbeat, almost every sound seems to be someone in the ear of Qiaoming, violently knocking the giant clock. Even if this was not counted, even when the air entered his nose, it could bring a cold chill, and the air flowing through his skin seems to be a knife cutting through him, which directly caused Qiaoming to fall into great pain. But Qiaoming did not dare to make a sound. He was afraid that if he made a sound, he could break his eardrum. In the violent pain of his whole body, Qiaoming suddenly felt the flow of his blood and noticed the flow of his spiritual power. The painful look on Qiaoming's face didn't hide the truth from Yang Chen. In order to help Qiaoming not let him have more pain, Yang Chen even arranged a sound-insulated array around Qiaoming to ensure that he would not be exposed to the outside world's interference. But Yang Chen did not imagine that Qiaoming's own breathing and heartbeat sounds were enough to make him crazy. His muscles were almost twisted and his cold sweat never stopped. It was pulled out from the head of Qiaoming. This was all happening, not to talk about his heartbeat. Even standing in the same place, he could feel that the sole of his foot was like a hot iron, but it was just the pain caused by his weight on the sole of his foot. With his calm temperament, he could bear it. Even Yang Chen did not expect that his character actually gave Qiaoming great help at this time. Even if it was painful, Qiaoming also endured it. At this moment, he actually used all kinds of feelings to observe, feel, listen to the flow of blood in his body, and experience the situation in which spiritual power flows in his body. This kind of feeling was even more detailed than using spiritual awareness to explore itself. Some subtle places, where Qiaoming had never noticed before, all showed up in Qiaoming's senses. For a moment, Qiaoming was fully aware of his body. In the great pain, Qiaoming was feeling the mystery of his body in concentration and did not find out how long it took. He just knew that his body's blood and spirit power has been circulating for more than 20 times. More than 20 times, each time was slightly different but all in the same parts. Just when he wanted to continue to feel, the pain of his whole body was like the water in the bucket that directly seeps into the water. It disappeared without a trace, and the clear feeling was lost instantly. However, Qiaoming did not feel disappointed, but only reminiscent of the place where every change in his body was changed. During the time, Qiaoming had a hint of insight. These places were places that he cannot control with precision. Since it was not clear what was wrong, Qiaoming naturally wanted to correct it. With the realm of his peak Jitan stage, just within a short day, he found a way to quickly correct those small flaws. When the last part also became no longer changed every time, the spiritual power in his body suddenly began to surge. Just this time, it seems to be 2 points stronger than usual. As soon as the strength of the spiritual power increased, Qiaoming immediately noticed that his mind was empty, and he laughed loudly. His whole body's spiritual power swayed, and the little soundproofing method that Yang Chen arranged was suddenly broken. In the sky, somehow a large group of dark clouds began to appear. It was still dark during the day, and the dark clouds seemed to be dark like night. Looking at this scene, Yang Chen's face showed a smile. Qiaoming was actually enlightened in time with the help of this one pill, and succeeded in causing the tribulation to appear. The dark cloud of the sky was simply the thunder tribulation clouds. Yang Chen knew about the tribulation clouds. Of course, many people in the Pure Yang Palace knew about it. Soon, Yang Chen had a few more figures before his pill room. It was the head of the palace and several elders, and there were several hall masters. Everyone was attracted by Qiaoming's unusual spiritual power. At the same time, they also discovered the tribulation clouds and specially came to observe the ceremony. As soon as he arrived, the law enforcement hall master immediately understood what had happened and quickly left to make arrangements. Qiaoming was crossing tribulation to form his nascent soul. There must be a lot of Jitan stage disciples who wanted to observe the ceremony but could not hinder Qiaoming tribulation, so someone must arrange it. The head of the palace felt strange seeing Yang Chen here. Here was Yang Chen's pill room. Qiaoming was going to cross his tribulation here. How was this happening? But at this juncture, there was not much in the head of the palace, as he just had to pay attention to Qiaoming not far away. The Jitan stage masters in the Pure Yang Palace were not too far away and they caught up with Qiaoming's tribulation. Under the rapid arrangement of Meng's Yan, almost all of them were concentrated here, but they all remained 200 feet outside to watch and watched quietly. Qiao Ming did not let everyone wait for a long time. After the tribulation cloud in the sky slowly formed, Kacha and the first tribulation lightning fell. A huge lightning directly hit Qiao Ming's body, and Qiao Ming's whole body lit up. But the light was just a flash, and it disappeared without a trace. The second and third thunder tribulation was stronger than the previous one, but Qiao Ming didn't evade at all, and even did not take out the thunder pomegranate that Yang Chen gave him to absorb the power of thunder, but just stood in the same place. He didn't move and let the thunder hit his body directly. Every time his body would shine for a while, then it would return to normal. As each thunder tribulation fell, Qiao Ming shone longer and longer. When the last one, the ninth thunderbolt, was lowered again, Qiao Ming's body finally moved. Qiao Ming had already flown into the air. It was like taking the initiative to meet the thunder, the person was in the air. There is a huge flash of light, like a humanoid firework shining. Then, Qiao Ming's familiar laughter came from the sky, and then Qiao Ming's figure with light directly flew to the head of the palace. The person was still in the air, and the clouds in the sky were fading, they became calm once again. Disciple Qiao Ming pays a respect to the palace master. When everything had returned to normal, Qiao Ming's was already paying his respects to the palace master. Congratulations. The head of the palace bowed back to Qiao Ming. The other elders around were also full of joy, a series of congratulations was said to him. But the success of the tribulation, the forming of the nascent soul was completed in the process of the tribulation. Qiao Ming has become another Yuning stage master, announced by the Puryang Palace. Moreover, the tribulation was very thorough, and the power of thunder pomegranate was not used at all. It was purely Qiao Ming's own cultivation-based strength. A group of Jitan masters witnessed Qiao Ming's tribulation process, and all of them were comprehending. The high-ranking members of the Puryang Palace were all there. For the time being, there was not much for them to do here, they were all returning to their courtyards quickly and then recollecting the process of the tribulation just now in order to increase their experience. What happened? After a busy congratulation, the head of the palace finally asked. The disciple was stuck in the threshold for a long time and took a medicinal pill made by Yang Chen's new refining system. Luckily, the success of the tribulation was achieved. Qiao Ming certainly did not hide it and directly explained the cause and effect. A medicinal pill that would let you break through? What kind of pill is it? The head of the palace was overjoyed and immediately asked quickly, is it a nascent soul-forming pill? It is the pill recipe that this disciple got from the monster race, inner sensing pill. Yang Chen replied with respect, his face was also having a happy expression. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 323. Tribulations. Monster race med ICI pill. The master of the palace glimpsed, but he immediately returned to normal. Whether it was a human or a monster race med ICI pill, as long as it works, it was a good med ICI pill. What is the role of this med ICI pill? Zhu Chentao, as the med ICI Hul master, was naturally very concerned about the medicinal pill effect and couldn't help but ask immediately. After Yang Chen introduced the role of the inner sensing pill roughly, the people were silent. Exploring the operation of blood and spiritual power in your body, this medicinal pill was unheard of. Everyone understood that no matter how powerful a genius was, it was impossible to cover everything at the time of cultivation. There were always some parts of the body that were not taken into account. There were strong and weak parts of the body, this was a very normal phenomenon, but when you cultivate, you generally do not take care of it. This was not to say that when people cultivate, they don't pay attention to it, but they were the meridians of the body. The distribution of the present was very complicated, and if there were some differences it was really ordinary. Only those who have cultivated to the pinnacle could feel the distribution of blood in their body to make up for the shortcomings in the body. But most people, even more than 1.5 of Yuning stage masters, couldn't do this. This medicinal pill has such a powerful function. After listening to Yang Chen's introduction, after a moment of contemplation, the eyes of several Yuning stage ancestors were all brightened. But this inner sensing pill, does it mean that everyone could clearly know the situation in their own body in the future, and do they have to make up for some of the places that cannot be cultivated for? No wonder that Qiao Ming could break through the peak of Jitan stage, it was really powerful. Those present were all elders, the only two who were not elders were Yang Chen and Qiao Ming. One of the two was the refiner of the medicinal pill, and one has already formed his nascent soul and would soon join the ranks of the elders. At the beginning of Yang Chen's introduction, the head of the palace had arranged 2 restrictions, which isolated the possibility of eavesdropping by outsiders. Now they were all their own people, and naturally they could talk without hiding anything. Everyone knew that Yang Chen has added a big ultimate weapon to the Puryang Palace. Everyone's excitement in their heart was unstoppable. This inner sensing pill not only could be used by a master in the Jitan stage, even if they were the Yuning stage ancestors, they could still use it. The news that Qiaming was promoted to a Yuning ancestors was quickly passed out, but not many people knew about Yang Chen's role in it. The Pure Yang Palace sealed the news very tightly, but some people inside the Pure Yang Palace were faintly aware that Qiaming's promotion must have a relation with Yang Chen. Just outside the alchemy division of Yang Chen was the place where Qiaming faced his tribulation, which could cause a lot of delusions. However, everyone who was able to attend the ceremony at that time was basically a trustworthy person in the Pure Yang Palace. No matter who they were, they would not vent their news. However, Yang Chen had to start thinking about it now. Wasn't the second grade inner sensing pill too powerful, so that the medicinal effects was too powerful? Although Qiaming has been promoted to the Yuning realm, there were still some minor injuries in his hearing. It would take a while to recover. For this question, Zhu Chentao, who has the most say in alchemy, also temporarily supported Yang Chen's claim. According to Qiaming's personal experience, after taking the inner sensing pill, although the time of the effects was very short, there were dozens of breathing time, but it made Qiaming have a huge pain. If the duration was longer, even though Qiaming could reach the Yuning stage, he would inevitably be hurt more. After the discussion about the inner sensing pill, Yang Chen and Zhu Chentao, they both decided to temporarily seal it up. Next, Yang Chen would first refine a batch of first-grade inner sensing pills. Perhaps after a change in the adaptation of the inner sensing pill, everyone would be able to get used to the formidable second-grade medicinal pill. During the refining process, because of the refining of the second-grade medicinal pill, it was much simpler for Yang Chen to refine the first-grade medicinal pill. This time, it took only 3 months to complete the refining of the first-grade inner sensing pills. While Yang Chen was refining, the news of Qiaming's success has already been rumored around. The Pure Yang Palace was now rising, so the news about the Pure Yang Palace was always very paid attention to by everyone. The person with a calm temperament actually succeeded in the forming of his nascent soul, and before he was still plagued by the peak Jitan stage for hundreds of years. Originally, Qiaming was quiet and everyone almost had forgotten about his existence. The hallmaster of the Pure Yang Palace, Liang Shaming, was famous. When did they hear about Qiaming? But Qiaming actually became a Yuning stage master, which was puzzling. Many people began to inquire whether Qiaming had any fortuitous encounter or other reasons. However, the population of the Pure Yang Palace was very tight-lipped and the people who have watched the ceremony were almost all retreating and outsiders did not know the reason. Regarding the case of the inner sensing pill, the Pure Yang Palace was grasping it tightly in an ironclad fist hands and it was not passed on for the time being. You must know that the pill recipe of the monster race was not only available to Pure Yang Palace. Being able to have more time, that was the advantage of a period of time. When Yang Chen came out again from the alchemy room, the pill room mouth had been replaced by another person. It was Zhu Chengxin, the hallmaster of the Foreign Affairs Hall. When Zhu Chengxin saw Yang Chen, he was very much looking forward to it. The reason for Qiaming promotion into the Yuning stage, the Pure Yang Palace, did not conceal it from the masters of these halls. When he saw Qiaming's success, Zhu Chengxin also had a lot of ideas. According to Zhu Chengxin's aptitude, it was already his limit in the peak Jitan stage. Zhu Chengxin knew this very well, and other high-ranking members of the Pure Yang Palace also knew this. If there was no Yang Chen and there was no inner sensing pill, Zhu Chengxin would also accept his fate. But the Pure Yang Palace has produced an alchemy master, and their medicinal pills were superb. Not only do they have the questioning inner heart pill, but now there was one more inner sensing pill. Looking at himself, which was similar to Qiaming, who took a second-grade inner sensing pill and even successfully crossed his tribulation to become a Yuning stage master, which made Zhu Chengxin unable to sit still. After thinking about it again and again, he went directly to the pill room gate of Yang Chen, waiting for a miracle. In his mind, Yang Chen knew about Zhu Chengxin clearly. In his previous life, Zhu Chengxin was stuck in the level of forming the nascent soul. When it came to the Pure Yang Palace sect extermination, he could not go any further in the battle with the greatest heaven sect, he died. This time Zhu Chengxin also took care of Yang Chen. Not to mention that when Chu Heng was still there, Zhu Chengxin was very concerned about Yang Chen at the He Venli Stairs assembly. This kind of love, of course, Yang Chen would not forget, so there was a gift of the Thunder Pomegranate for Zhu Chengxin. However, since there was the inner sensing pill, it could said that Zhu Chengxin should test to see if there was no effect on the medicinal pill of the monster race, which has not undergone the second-grade refining system. Of course, this time, Yang Chen and Zhu Chengxin would not immediately test the effect of the pill in front of Yang Chen's pill room. With the last time, the two have to report to the head of the palace to talk about it. Yang Chen has this meaning. Zhu Chengxin has been in charge of foreign affairs for many years. He knew this truth better. The two of them came to the residence of the head of the palace and explained their intentions. This time, he was very nimble to have several elders gathered together. Everyone wanted to see the effect of this inner sensing pill. Zhanxian has made up his mind and does not care that he has become the target of the test, quietly waiting for the elders to come so he could begin. All the elders arrived, and even Qiaming, who was newly promoted to the wielding stage, was no exception. The elders wanted to know urgently whether this inner sensing pill was really helpful to the forming of the nascent soul. In 3 months, Qiaming's hearing damage has completely recovered and his cultivation base was being consolidated and improved. It seems that there was nothing wrong with taking the inner sensing pill. In order to prevent the sloppy start of the tribulation to form his nascent soul immediately after taking the medicinal pill, this time Zhanxian was taking the medicinal pill in the mountain gate of the Puryang Palace. Of course, it was not in the Blue Vault Mountain Immortal's Cave, so as not to damage the Immortal's Cave because of the tribulation. After arranging a soundproofed formation, Zhanxian sat down on his knees and put on a posture of cultivating. He swallowed the first great inner sensing pill in his hand. Soon, in the eyes of everyone, they saw Zhanxian's abnormality, his face flushed and seemed to be enduring pain. Looking at this scene, everyone could not help but widen their eyes and looked at Zhanxian without hesitation, for fear of missing something. Surprisingly, the effect of the first great inner sensing pill was several times longer than the duration of the transfer of the second great inner sensing pill. When Qiaming took it, the effects only lasted a few dozens of breaths before it disappeared, and now Zhanxian's effects actually lasted for half stick of incense before it could end. This time, there was no immediate tribulation, indicating that Zhanxian did not enter the state of forming his nascent soul. However, even so, Zhanxian's face also had cold sweat, seems to have experienced a painful suffering. Everyone didn't know what the situation was, and no one dared to open the restriction on their own initiative. Everyone was waiting for Zhanxian to make his own move. After a long time, Zhanxian slowly recovered to normal and actively withdrew the restrictions. Immediately, he heard an urgent question from the head of the palace. How was it? My cultivation is still not proficient enough. Zhanxian may have experienced a lot of things from the process of this internal inspection. Although he was not able to form his nascent soul on the spot, his face still couldn't resist the excitement. I thought I have already reached the peak of the Jidan stage and only the last step was left and now I understand that it is still far behind. After investigation his own blood and spirit power operation, and it was so. Zhanxian finally understood why he could never cross the threshold. Under the excitement, Zhanxian still had some regrets. Zhanxian slowly shook his head and said when the foundation was built, the direction was wrong and now it can't be changed. When this was said, it made everyone feel awkward. There was a deviation when laying the foundation now if he wanted to correct it, it was already more difficult than to ascend to heaven. Don't talk about Yang Chen, it was estimated that even the Grand Supreme Elderly Lord was unable to change it. Unless Zhanxian was willing to abolish his cultivation base and restart cultivation again. However, at the age of Zhanxian, the abolishment of his cultivation base means a dead end and it was estimated that he would exhaust his life force and was unable to do anything about it. Makes up as far as possible, if it is really not good, uses Thunderbolt Pomegranate to forcefully cross the tribulation to promote your cultivation base. When everyone was silent and no one had anything to say. Yang Chen looked at him and said next to him when perhaps you draw support from it to cross your thunder tribulation it can melt down these hidden danger. The tribulation was a test of the heavens and a reward for those who crossed the tribulation. Everyone had some feelings of low mood. When they heard Yang Chen's words, all of them suddenly got spirited. Even Zhanxian also changed the regrets before and became more and more excited. Does taking this first great inner sensing pill, can you have an unbearable situation? Since there was a way, everyone would no longer be silent. Zhu Chentao immediately revolved around the efficacy of the first great inner sensing pill and asked how Zhanxian felt. Zhanxian did not hide it and quickly said his feelings. In contrast to Qiaming, everyone quickly figured out a lot. For the first great inner sensing pill and the second great inner sensing pill, basically the medicinal effect was the same, the difference was that the second great inner sensing pill effect was shortened by almost 10 times, but it increases the sensory sensitivity by a dozen times. While the pain was intensifying, it also allows the person taking the medicine to understand the problem more clearly. This time, Zhanxian understood a lot, but still not enough. In response to the problems discovered this time, several elders took turns pointing and quickly adjusted the cultivation to Zhanxian. In just 1 month, Zhanxian changed his previous cultivation mistakes. Once again, the crowd gathered again and Zhanxian once again took a first great inner sensing pill and learned about his own blood and spirit power operation. However, this time it was obvious that Zhanxian has become accustomed to it by a lot and it was not so painful. How was it? Still Zhu Chentao asked this question. The last time the problems found has been fixed and the others have not found anything. Zhanxian quickly replied, thinking about it and continuing to say. Maybe the first great inner sensing pill has no way for me to feel any deeper. Everyone accepted this point. 2 times he had taken the first great inner sensing pill, this degree could not feel too much, and if he wanted to continue to understand deeper, it was estimated that he need to turn to the second great inner sensing pill. Try the second great inner sensing pill. It was Qiaming who spoke. Only Qiaming has taken the second great inner sensing pill, so he had the most powerful voice about it besides Yang Chen. Under the gaze of everyone, Zhanxian swallowed a second great inner sensing pill. Within the formation, Zhanxian's face became red and his body shook. The muscles on his face were directly distorted. There was tension in his whole body and he could no longer adhere to the sitting posture of his cultivation, his shape was shrimp. Everyone was shocked, but at the moment, no one could help. There was no other way than to watch Zhanxian struggle to endure. Fortunately, the time was not long and the time of dozens of effect was fleeting. Soon, Zhanxian's body slowly unfolded and the look on his face was no longer so painful. Just as everyone was grateful, in the clear sky, suddenly the wind in the cloud surged and a large cloud of clouds quickly shrouded over the sky above the Pure Yang Palace. At that moment, the sky was covered with strictness. The thunder tribulation clouds actually came again at this time. Looking at this scene, all the high-ranking members of the Pure Yang Palace were all happy to the extreme. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 324. Crossing Tribulation. Not to mention the success of Zhanxian's tribulation, it was just that the second great inner sensing pill let the 2 masters of the peak Golden stage begin the process of their tribulation, which has already explained many problems. The effect of the second great inner sensing pill at this moment had been mentioned by the head of the palace and the elders, it was similar to a nascent soul forming pill, but the effect was much better. After all, nascent soul forming pills were only to improve the success rate of forming the nascent soul. It was effective only after the user first arrives at the level of the forming of his nascent soul. It was not like now, which could give success in their tribulation where the Golden peak stage was mentioned. The tribulation clouds in the sky were getting lower and lower and Zhanxian's facial expression in the formation was becoming more and more serious. Lifting his head, nervously watching the tribulation cloud getting closer and closer, the 2 thunder pomegranates appeared in his hands. This was what Yang Chen gave him very early. The intention was to let Zhanxian absorb the power of a part of the tribulation thunder when he was not sure about crossing the tribulation. This kind of scene has already attracted the attention of many people. The Golden stage disciples who have been in the Pure Yang Palace recently were absolutely blessed. In just 3 or 4 months, they attended the process of the tribulation of the 2 masters in a row, which could be the best lessons and experience for them. Without needing the master of the palace to make arrangements, those Golden stage disciples of the sect were skilled in their respective positions and carefully observed. The whole process was very orderly, just like they have practiced it thousands of times. In fact, it was only because there was one more than 3 months ago that everyone was familiar with it. This was the core area of the Pure Yang Palace, and it was defensed rigorous. Zhanxian was not afraid of interference in his process of crossing the tribulation. To appear in this place, one would have to break through the containment of hundreds of Golden stage masters, but also under the eyes of the 11 Yuning stage masters of the Pure Yang Palace. It was really not an easy task. Seeing that the tribulation clouds were getting lower and lower, with a bang, a thunder of lightning finally broke out and directly hit the body of Zhanxian. The first thunder, Zhanxian did not use the thunder pomegranate. If he couldn't even pick up the first thunder, there would be no difference in using the thunder pomegranate. This thunder was a strong one. In fact, the more thunders he could endure, the better the benefits for the future. Only when there was no certainty could he use the thunder pomegranate. Boom, Zhanxian's formation around his body was broken and the lightning ray fell directly on him. Unlike Qiaming, who was a fire attribute spirit root and when the thunderbolt hit his body it shined directly. Zhanxian had the water attribute spirit root. When the thunderbolt entered his body, it seems to be absorbed by Zhanxian's body, disappearing without a trace. After taking the first thunder, Zhanxian easily overcame it and his face also expressed a more confident expression. However, the 2 thunder pomegranates in his hands had not been withdrawn, they were held in his hands just in case. Bang, the second thunder fell and once again sank into the body of Zhanxian. But this time, Zhanxian was not so relaxed, for a while, the aftertaste of the lightning ray slowly disappeared. Next was the third, fourth, one thicker than the other, until the 8th. The first thunder was only the thickness of a big leg, but the 8th thunder needed 2 people to hold around the thickness. When the 8th thunderbolt entered his body, Zhanxian had sweat appear on his face, and anyone could see the difficulty of his resistance. Finally, Zhanxian, who was having a flashed complexion, completely absorbed the 8th thunder, but the power of the thunderbolt still made him vomit blood. Bright red blood was spurted out 3 feet away, and the red splendor made the people look shocked. The Jidan stage masters who watched the ceremony were all pinching a cold sweat and were worried about Zhanxian. At the same time, they were also very concerned. If they saw a master fail during the tribulation ceremony, it would have some influence on their own confidence. The 9th thunder was even stronger than the 8th. It already needed 3 people to hold it together, and the light was so bright that people simply couldn't look straight at it. In the eyes of everyone's worries, the thunder tribulation came to Zhanxian's head again. This time, Zhanxian did not act reluctantly, but used the thunder pomegranate. 2 thunder pomegranates larger than Zhanxian's fists appeared directly on the top of Zhanxian's head. The thick thunder, as if attracted by something, was directly divided into 3 shares, 2 of which disappeared instantly into the 2 thunder pomegranates. The remaining one, the original 1/3 of the strong thunder, once again fell on Zhanxian's body. Weakening 1/3 of the thunder, for Zhanxian, it was no longer a threat, even easier than the 8th thunder. When the 9th thunderbolt also disappeared in Zhanxian's body, the tribulation clouds in the sky finally stopped gathering and slowly began to dissipate. The clear sky began to shine through. Zhanxian's body sat firmly in the same place, with almost no change. However, several elders who were closer to him had already noticed that the imposing manners that was emitted from him was completely different from the past. The thunder tribulation disappeared and Zhanxian, who was sitting in the same place, finally recovered his normal color. He suddenly opened his eyes and laughed and stood up. Congratulations. The head of the palace immediately congratulated Zhanxian. The surrounding elders were also full of joy and they went towards Zhanxian to offer their congratulations. At this point, no one didn't know that Zhanxian was successful in his tribulation this time and the Pure Yang Palace added another Wielding stage master. Although Zhanxian used the thunder pomegranate at the last moment, he still passed the heavenly tribulation after all. The Wielding stage was the Wielding stage, even if he was a weaker Wielding stage master, he was much stronger than the Jidan stage master. In less than 4 months, the Pure Yang Palace has produced 2 Wielding stage masters. This news, they believed, would soon spread throughout the cultivation world. 2 of them were promoted to the Wielding stage, one was Qiaming with a calm temperament and the other was Foreign Affairs Master Zhanxian. The 2 people were not optimistic before, but now they were almost promoted at the same time. It was estimated that many people would break their heads to want to know the details. The master of the palace had already decided that the 2nd grade inner sensing pill should be regarded as the secret weapon of the Pure Yang Palace. The inner sensing pill was the pill recipe of the monster race and some people could get it from other sources. However, the 2nd grade refining system was not for everyone. These inner sensing pills could definitely bring to the Pure Yang Palace a large number of masters. Just when everyone thought that this time the Zhanxian tribulation was over and they wanted to go back to talk about Zhanxian's experience, suddenly, an aura that almost made everyone shudder suddenly appeared on the top of everyone's head. The powerful aura directly enveloped all areas of the Pure Yang Palace and it did not linger for a long time, but in the sky another phenomenon began to appear again. This violent wind, it was not known when it appeared, but the front of all the people's clothes was flapping and a seemingly ugly yin haze was beginning to appear slowly. The formidable aura was getting stronger and stronger, as if to provoke something. In the sky, the smog of white clouds was getting thicker and thicker and it had almost surrounded this area. Master Ancestor wants to cross his tribulation. Yang Chen was the first to respond. His spiritual awareness immediately found out the source of this aura, which was from where Master Ancestor Wang Yong was having his seclusion. When the head of the palace and the elders around him heard Yang Chen's words, they immediately responded and they were even more pleasantly surprised. Wang Yong tribulation means that the Pure Yang Palace could soon have a master of the Daching stage. How could it not let everyone be happy? It's not good, let everyone spread out, with the yin fire tribulation, it is not something that anyone can observe. If they let the current scene continue, then these Jidan stage masters do not know how dangerous it would be. Several elders were busy at this time and quickly evacuated the surrounding Jidan stage disciples and evacuated them to a safe distance. Fortunately, the yin fire tribulation was not coming soon, there was still a long time so that everyone could safely evacuate. If a Jidan stage master wanted to observe the yin fire tribulation, it was almost impossible unless they were as strong as Yang Chen. However, even so, at a certain distance, they could feel the yin fire tribulation aura, which was a rare experience for any cultivator. The Jidan stage masters who were originally only in the Pure Yang Palace had such good luck, but now, the cultivators within the entire Myking mountain range seemed to have a blessing. These opportunities usually could not be asked for, they actually met such an opportunity. Everyone was quickly dispelled, and the head of the palace secretly released the 8 Yuning stage masters who were taken in the Blue Vault Mountain Immortals cave. This kind of close-up viewing of the opportunity of yin fire tribulation, of course, must be enjoyed by everyone. The old tree demon was also attracted. He did not appear for a long time, and he appeared next to Yang Chen. Not waiting for what Yang Chen said, Yang Chen was directly covered in his protection. Although Yang Chen had the ability to protect himself with the old tree demon and their friendship when he was around, he did not want Yang Chen's only protection to be his own. The power of the yin fire tribulation was huge. Wang Yong's momentum was becoming more and more prosperous. As the haze became more and more concentrated, Wang Yong's momentum was also rising. Finally, when Wang Yong's momentum reached its peak, the yin fire tribulation began to fall. The figure of Wang Yong directly broke through the closed room and appeared in the sky above the heads of everyone. Through the smog, it looked dim and it was not very clear. However, at this time, no one was stupid enough to let go of their spiritual awareness to explore. It was simply blatantly helping Wang Yong to bear the power of the yin fire tribulation. When a Yuning stage master was promoted to the Daching stage through the yin fire tribulation, in addition to the old tree demon, which one can be followed. As the master of Gao Yu and Yang Chen's master ancestor, Wang Yong also had the fire attribute spirit root. In the yin fire tribulation, everyone in the middle of the dim smog only saw a burning humanoid torch. Although the people could see that Wang Yong was burning, the burning light was not fierce, but it was only a little brighter than the normal situation. It was not enough to break through all the smog and make everyone see clearly. But even so, with the huge power of the yin fire tribulation, even if the distance was so far away, they could feel it all the same. It just began in a little bit, but everyone's heart was amazed at the power of the yin fire tribulation. As a master of the Yuning stage, many elders felt the degree of the heavenly tribulation, and they can't help but change their faces. Not to mention the fight against the heavenly tribulation, let alone the strongest of it, barely bearing half of the first yin fire tribulation, it was estimated they would drink and hate on the spot. Was this yin fire tribulation so strong? For a time, everyone, including the head of the palace, had a feeling of disappointment. Wang Jr. brother's own flame absorbs the power of the yin fire, so this kind of power will be there. The old tree demon next to them also felt the extraordinariness of Wang Yong's yin fire tribulation, but he understood the problem, and he said at this time, the yin fire tribulation is a bit more powerful, but it is not the same for everyone. But the flame of junior brother Wang, he can take it. Bi Shanyu and the palace master were accepted as disciples by their master, his generation was the same as the head of the palace, plus the oldest, so Wang Yong was the younger brother. But this explanation, everyone understood everything immediately. With the yin fire tribulation plus Wang Yong's own flame, of course the power was not normal, it was normal to not get it. The main body of Bi Shanyu was the laurel tree, which was the first wood attribute, and the firewood was confined to the innate, it was not normal. However, why should Wang Yong blend his own flames with the yin fire tribulation and raise the power to such a point? Looking at the shadow of the mist, no one could understand. The ancestor is tempering a new flame by the power of the yin fire tribulation, and he must absorb the power of the yin fire. Yang Chen suddenly explained at the side. Among the people present, Yang Chen dared to say that if his understanding of the flame ranked second, then no one dared to be recognized as the first, even the Wang Yong who was crossing his tribulation was the same. Don't look at him as an ancestor, but his knowledge was really not as good as Yang Chen's knowledge. Listening to Yang Chen's explanation, everyone once again realized it. For Yang Chen to talk at this time, no one expressed any surprise, even the newly received Yuning stage masters of the Hall of Eccentrics were the same. After understanding, everyone looked forward to Wang Yong. With the tribulation of others they were cautious, and they would concentrate on the power of fighting against the tribulation. Wang Yong actually has the leisurely time to absorb the yin fire to quench his flame, showing that confidence was not an ordinary feat. Could it be that this pure Yang palace really would gain another master of the Daching stage? The Miking Mountain innate Kai wave was simply the best call, even if it was a cultivator who has no knowledge of it, they knew that there was a master who was crossing his tribulation. Within the same day, there was actually 2 heavenly tribulation, a thunder tribulation and a yin fire tribulation, which surprised some of the guys lurking in the Mysian mountain, as they could not believe what they saw. If Zhanxian forming his nascent soul was still acceptable, then it was absolutely shocking to suddenly run into a Daching stage master. Wang Yong going into seclusion to attack the Daching realm was not hidden from the outsiders, so many people had guessed that Wang Yong was the one crossing his tribulation. Countless people were staring at the direction of the tribulation, and there was only one concept left in their heart. Within 3 or 4 months, the pure Yang Palace has 2 more Yuning stage masters. If Wang Yong passed the yin fire tribulation, then it was necessary to add a master of the Daching stage to the sect. This rapidly increasing power could only explain one thing. Pure Yang Palace was really rising. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 325. Confidence. For a sect which has a master of the Daching stage against a sect that has two masters of the Daching stage, there is an essential difference. With a single master of the Daching stage, the best results for the sect was for him to oversee the sect, cultivating while also providing points for the younger generation on their cultivation parts. However, in this way, there were a lot of flaws. In reading thousands of books, it was not better compared to traveling thousands of miles. The masters of the Daching stage could not blindly stay in the sect, they could not become a master and then reach the peak of their cultivation and cross their tribulation to ascend if they had no experience. They must experience all kinds of human feelings, warm and cold, accumulate enough experience, and even participate in arduous battles in order to improve their own mood. The masters who had been staying in their sect were never able to ascend. But the sect domain was an important place, that was the foundation of the development of the entire sect, and someone must strictly guard it. If it was not for the old tree demon Shanyu having an avatar, then he could only stay in the Miking Mountain to guard the sect. Having two masters of the Daching stage were different. The two could take turns to guard the sect and could discuss with each other. When one cultivate to the level of Daching stage, in many cases, cultivation was not simply about the improvement of the spirit power, but the improvement of their heart. If a person was depressed, it was not always as good as two people. When you are a master of the Daching stage, you could only enlighten yourself, even if you wanted to ask someone else, there would be no chance. There were not many people who could directly point out the cultivation part to the masters of the Daching stage. Second, the masters of other sects, why should they provide pointers to you? Having two people were different. There was not so much prevention between the same sect. At least in some respects, it could be very smooth, and it was especially important for the mentality cultivation. For the enemies of the sect, they would have to deal with a master of the Daching stage one day. At the very least they would need a master of the Daching stage, maybe they would need to add a few Yuanying stage masters to help. But to deal with two masters of the Daching stage, they must have at least three masters of the Daching stage to have a winning chance. It could be said that two masters of the Daching stage meant that this martial arts sect had become as stable as Mount Tai and could pass on the sect's inheritance in the long run. Wang Yang and the old tree demon Shanyu were different. The old tree demon was a stranger. He joined the Pure Yang Palace later in life, but Wang Yang went to the Pure Yang Palace from the beginning and practiced bit by bit until now. The feelings he had for the Pure Yang Palace were far from being comparable to the old tree demon. The head of the palace and other elders were more willing to have a master of the Daching stage born in the sect so that outsiders may say that it was also a Pure Yang Palace master of the Daching stage rather than them recruiting one through luck. Wang Yang's yin fire tribulation still continued, but apart from the old tree demon and Yang Chen, others had to start to retreat. The momentum that came from Wang Yang's side was climbing, and the flame of Wang Yang's body did not know what the reason was. It even released an amazing heat. Even the palace master could not resist it and could only withdraw to the back. It was not that this level of heat could not be tolerated at all, but once they were to resist, it would inevitably launch a spiritual confrontation. At this time, whether it was spiritual power or the exploration of the spiritual awareness, it could only be drawing fire to oneself, and the heavenly tribulation could not control whether it was a tribulation. The old tree demon was a wood attribute cultivator. In addition to being able to feel that Wang Yang's flame was very dangerous, he could not deeply understand Wang Yang's fire control method and its difficulty. Although the old tree demon was not clear about it, Yang Chen was very clear about it. Wang Yang used the yin fire tribulation to temper his own flame, which made Yang Chen very surprised. What surprised him the most was that he couldn't recognize the flame of Wang Yang. In the past, when Wang Yang was at the peak of the Jidan stage, it was only a 4th grade fire seed. Before the retreat, he did not hear what kind of fire seed was won by Wang Yang. But now in the eyes of Yang Chen, Wang Yang's fire was not the original 4th grade fire seed, but a flame that he had never seen before. The strength of this flame was rare in the world. Even Yang Chen was not sure about it. Others were even more baffled. It let Yang Chen think about breaking his head and wondering what kind of fire it was. He could only wait for Wang Yang to complete the tribulation before he could really know the answer. It was not the first creation of Wang Yang that was quenching his flame by the yin fire tribulation. It was the result that Yang Chen had intentionally or unintentionally mentioned before. Yang Chen was surprised at this point. But the flame was also too strong, and Yang Chen's estimated that it had reached at least the level of 6th grade fire seed. That was still the extent of it at present. If he were to wait for it to be tempered with the yin fire tribulation, it may be able to break through the limits of the 6th grade and become a 7th grade fire seed. The 7th grade fire seed, that was already reaching the sacredness of the mortal realm. The pure yang true fire that the founder left behind was a 7th grade fire seed. Wang Yong relied on his original flame to force himself, and he used his own and external forces to raise his own fire seed grades to the extreme, which was simply to challenge the limits of the human cultivators. In his previous life Wang Yong did not even reach the peak of the tribulation of the Yuning stage before he had fallen. With Yang Chen in this life, everything had become completely different from the original. According to this level, the development of Wang Yong was stronger than that of Yang Chen's previous life. It was necessary to know that even if Yang Chen's past life was so bad, he was still ranked as a Great Principle Golden Immortal. The Yin Fire tribulation was silent, and everyone in the distance seems to only see this. However, Yang Chen and the old tree demon were so close, and they were more clear. The master of the palace and other Yuning stage masters were a little farther away, but they could see clearly. As the second layer heavenly tribulation Yin Fire tribulation, in addition to burning on the body of Wang Yong, it burned in the flame of Wang Yong. No one could describe this moment. There was only one thought in the mind of all those who saw this scene. It was that Wang Yong, whether it was his flames or his body, seemed to be bathed in the yin fire of the heavenly tribulation, purifying, tempering. They were incapable of describing the nirvana rebirth that Wang Yong was experiencing at this moment. Everyone understood the danger of the yin fire, but no one in this circle thought that this yin fire would affect Wang Yong. There was a feeling of silence. It seems that in the minds of everyone, it was so natural. The smile on Yang Chen's face had never been wiped off. He has fully seen that Wang Yong did not reluctantly reach this realm after he risked to cross his tribulation, but after a full accumulation, he made the decision to cross his tribulation. Perhaps he was attracted by 2 consecutive thunder tribulation in just 2 months. The changes caused by the heavens and earth spiritual Kai would never pass the perception of Wang Yong, and the success of the 2 consecutive tribulation would also make Wang Yong face his own tribulation full of confidence. In short, during the process of the tribulation of Wang Yong, it was full of momentum that was unprecedented. This momentum was even stronger than the old tree demon who had suppressed more than a dozen yin fire tribulation. The reason why the old tree demon Gi Shanyu would suppress the yin fire tribulation was because he had no grasp of the tribulation and had a lack of confidence. He cultivated himself alone. Sometimes he was not very clear about where his cultivation base was. He never thought about it. He pressed down the yin fire tribulation a dozen times. Plus the old tree demon was of the wood attribute, although the fire was not directly the nemesis of the wood, it would cause fatal damage to the wood. Therefore, even in the Miking Mountain tribulation, Gi Shanyu still had some guilty conscience. If Yang Chen had not given him the clone secret art and transformation secret art, he would still not be so confident. The current Wang Yong was totally different. This kind of imposing manner and the constant provocation of the tribulation directly reflected that his confidence had burst to the utmost limit. The tribulation was now not a catastrophe for Wang Yong, but to temper his own sledgehammer and anvil and make himself stronger. The 3rd and 4th yin fire tribulation, each coming together. Even if everyone was far away, they could still perceive the self-confidence and assurance of Wang Yong. This kind of confidence not only made it easy for Wang Yong to cope with the tribulation, but even affected all the cultivators within 100 miles. At this moment, all the cultivators felt the positive confidence and never let go. It was not known how many people once felt that they couldn't see clearly in the road ahead and they lost their fascination. But at this moment, they suddenly had a thorough understanding. Compared with Wang Yong, what difficulties and obstacles they encountered before and what bottlenecks they practiced almost became illusory. In this moment, countless cultivators laid down the knots that have entangled themselves for a long time. They had a great understanding and their thoughts were accessible. Even the spiritual power in their body had begun to move. Within 100 miles, the inner gate of the Pure Yang Palace was completely covered, and this area was where the general rogue cultivators and other sects did not have the ability to enter without permission. The influence brought by Wang Yong's momentum had solidly made the inner sect's disciples of the Pure Yang Palace undergo a baptism without them knowing it. However, the heavenly tribulation did not end here and it still came down step by step. 5th, 6th, 7th. When the 7th yin fire tribulation came, they had to retreat a few feet away from the palace before it was safe to bear the power of the yin fire tribulation and Wang Yong's flame overlay. At this time, no matter the power of the tribulation or the power of Wang Yong's flame, the stronger it was, the happier the palace master and the elders became. The stronger it was this time, the higher the cultivation base of Wang Yong and the development of this level, Wang Yong's success had been a matter of fact. Just as the elders looked forward to the birth of the second master of the Daching stage in the sect, while the other cultivators who were influenced by Wang Yong's imposing manner enjoyed the process of self-confidence, a sudden change occurred on the scene. The 8th yin fire tribulation was still normal, but the 9th yin fire tribulation suddenly had increased several times. The violent process, as if it had been the warm fire slowly stewing the oil pan, and suddenly a torch was dropped in the oil pan. Boom, Wang Yong's side suddenly became a huge fire. Countless bright flames directly lighted all the dense fog, and even the smog was burned by the sudden flames. The fastest to respond was the old tree demon, who almost flew hundreds of feet backwards in an instant, directly out of the scope of the fire. But the palace master and elders were also not slow. When they received the warning of the old tree monster, they also withdrew and went directly behind the old tree demon. Within the range of hundreds of feet, all were tumbling flames. This was a new type of fire that was mixed with the flames of Wang Yong in the yin fire. It took only a moment of effort for it to spread into a huge flame ball. Yang Chen felt a familiar aura from the flames this time and thought about it. This kind of flame was clearly a kiln fire. However, slightly different from the ordinary kiln fire, the flame of the third fire was mixed with the smell of the ninth water, so that Yang Chen did not recognize it at the beginning. This was the harvest that Yang Chen brought to the ancestor master, the kiln horn. The kiln horns of the double attribute were not only successfully refined into a life source flying sword, but also absorbed the flames and turned into this type of unique kiln water and fire. The water and fire had reached the power of 6 grade fire seed. Everyone was in fear, not knowing what happened. All the cultivators within the scope of the Myking Mountain were feeling the spiritual wave of Wang Yong's tribulation. Suddenly, they found a huge burning sun in the sky above the Myking Mountain. For a time, countless exclamations came one after another, and everyone stared at the huge fireball and pointing at it. What exactly was going on? Did the tribulation fail? Or was he still successful? At the time of the alarm, the people heard Wang Yong's laughter full of joy. Ha 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 ha. A long laugh almost challenged the limits of everyone's curiosity. Everyone couldn't wait to know what the result was, but the laughter was enduring, and after a half-column incense time it still did not stop. However, the meaning of the incomparable self-confidence was in the laughter, everyone still appreciated it. In the huge burning fireball, there was still such confidence, so that the confidence of the cultivators in the Pure Yang Palace had already reached the highest. Finally, the laughter stopped and everyone saw a scene that was unforgettable. The huge fireball suddenly began to fall toward the center, and the ears of the people also rang a harsh wind. In the strong voice of the whirring fireball, the fireball was suddenly blown away and turned into a thick cloud of fire. Then, the fire cloud turned into a long and thin fire, flying in one direction. The end of the fiery wire stayed in the mouth of Wang Yong, who was suspended in the air. At this moment, Wang Yong was like swallowing a delicious food, and the silk was swallowed into his mouth. There were fewer and fewer flames in the sky, and finally they were all swallowed up by Wang Yong. Immediately, the smoke disappeared and the clouds were seen, and everything in the sky returned to normal. Wang Yong, who absorbed all the clouds of fire, laughed again, and his body shook and disappeared without a trace. But this last laugh, in the heart of the inner sect disciple of the sect in the mountains, was like words of wisdom and rushed into their sea of consciousness. Everyone couldn't help but create a trace that couldn't be erased in their sea of consciousness. Wang Yong's figure of laughter was firmly remembered in everyone's heart. No matter what time, as long as they thought of this laughter, it seems that all the hardships and difficulties would be treated as leisurely, even if there were many hardships in the future, it was just their own sharpening stone. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 326. Monopolizing. The figure of Wang Yong had already appeared in front of the head of the palace and the elders. Although he did not straighten out that he had succeeded in the tribulation, all those who perceived the shock in the final process had already understood that Wang Yong was already a master of the defying stage. Numerous spies in the Myking Mountain range, the rogue cultivators, after the realization of this, went almost at the fastest speed to spread the news. The Pure Yang Palace had added a master of the defying stage, and it was also a master of the defying stage that was born in the sect. In the future, even if it was the greatest heaven sect, it was impossible for them to behave like the last time, sending a master of the defying stage, with more than a dozen Yuanying stage masters, to dare to oppress the Pure Yang Palace. From then on, the era of the Pure Yang Palace as a second-rate sect faction, where they would have to act bashful, was gone forever. Congratulations to Senior Brother Wang. Congratulations to Master Ancestor. A series of congratulations was immediately said to Wang Yong. On everyone's face was a joy that couldn't be suppressed. With the second master of the defying stage, it meant that even if they go out in the future, they could also puff out their chests and straighten their waists. Even if they encountered the first-class ex-cultivators, they did not have to be careful and whisper. With Wang Yong's success in the tribulation, even his temperament had a big change. There was no such thing as the guilty conscience of Yang Chen's previous memories, but the confidence on his face was full, and the person was also calm. Standing there, not angry, like a mountain, giving a feeling of being strong and unable to climb. Same to you. Wang Yong responded to everyone's congratulations, but he went to the opposite side of the head of the palace and greeted the head of the palace as usual. "Greetings, palace master. Senior brother, you are exempted from such a ceremony." The master of the palace was already trembling at the moment. When did the Pure Yang Palace have such a brilliant moment? Unexpectedly, under his tenure, such a thriving development flourished. Moreover, even if senior brother Wang Yong was promoted to the daching stage, he still respected him as always and caused the head of the palace to be choked up with emotions. It was difficult for his heart to bear it. "Palace master. Fellow elders, master ancestor, it is not convenient to talk here, let's change the place." Everyone was very motivated and no one had noticed that they were still in the public. Yang Chen saw that everyone had the feeling of being open to talk and hurriedly reminded them. The people reacted to this and the palace master flung the sleeves of his robe and all of them were sent to the hall of the Blue Vault Mountain Immortals cave. But the disappearance of the crowd, the large group of Pure Yang Palace Jidan stage masters reacted, one by one, almost like a rabbit in the middle of an arrow rain, flew quickly to their homes. This time, not only did they get a close-up view of Zhanxian tribulation process, but they also fortunately saw the process of the tribulation of the master ancestor Wang Yong. These opportunities were simply the words of the gods in their brains. If you added the process of forming the nascent soul 3 months ago, you could even say that this group of Jidan masters who have been in the sect had the solid golden tangs that had fallen from the sky. They were able to observe the ceremony of crossing the tribulation and forming the nascent soul. They have already had the finishing touches to their cultivation. Now there was another experience through Wang Yong's tribulation, the kind of momentum that was full of confidence and direct, so that everyone had a kind of almost crazy feeling to it. At present, the bottlenecks they were facing was also difficult. It was simply a matter of being able to cross it. Even those cultivators who had no problems for the time had an understanding that the efficiency of future work was definitely at least 5 points higher than before. Not to mention these masters of the Jidan stage, even those disciples who were in the foundation stage had the same feeling. Their thoughts were accessible and their confidence was increased by 100 times. No matter what kind of cultivation method was cultivated, no matter what stage it was at present, it was nearly a high-efficiency catalyst effect on their cultivation. All the inner sect's disciples who were present at the moment had an impulse to immediately retreat. All of them were rushing back to their residences and telling their slaves that they were going into seclusion immediately. At this time, if they still didn't know how to digest these experiences, they would be fools. This kind of mood also existed in the elders and the head of the palace. However, their realm was high after all, and the realm of the Yuning ancestors was not something that ordinary people could imagine. The situation in which Wang Yong crossed his tribulation would certainly help them, but the situation of each person was different and the situation of the tribulation would not be the same. What really had a great effect on them was the self-confidence that Wang Yong used to face his tribulation. For this, as a Yuning stage master, they were not eager to retreat, as long as they believed this. The elders knew more than the ordinary cultivators. With such confidence, if they added the second-grade questioning inner heart pill, all the Yuning stage elders had the confidence to attack the daching stage. At this point, even Zhanxian, who succeeded his tribulation and forming the nascent soul with a thunder pomegranate, had this feeling. In the process of the tribulation, Zhanxian relied on the power of Thunderbolt to almost wipe out the weakness in his body because of the wrong direction of the previous cultivation. Even if he restarted from the early Yuning stage, he had such confidence. The entire Pure Yang Palace experienced this extremely confident situation. So many people went to Myking Mountain to visit friends. For a long time, they were told that the people they wanted to visit were in retreat. In the year after Wang Yong successfully crossed his tribulation to become a daching stage master, the Pure Yang Palace created a record with the largest number of collective seclusions. The master of the palace and the elders did not say anything to Wang Yong at this time and did not even need to say anything more. Wang Yong's promotion to the daching stage was the greatest contribution to the Pure Yang Palace. He could even do nothing, just improve his own cultivation base. Wang Yong had been retreating for decades and there were many things that he was not very clear about. It was enough for Yang Chen to explain. The head of the palace and other elders were also busy to discuss the development direction of the sect in the future. In the same way, everyone should also start to consider the handling of the medicinal pills that Yang Chen refined. Although Yang Chen's medicinal pill was now his own, it had been closely related to the interests of the sect. If the Pure Yang Palace wanted to develop, sometimes it was inseparable from Yang Chen's medicinal pill support. In any case, the present Pure Yang Palace had embarked on a path that was quite different from that of Yang Chen's previous life, and the road of this life was more spacious and brighter, allowing the sect's disciples of the Pure Yang Palace here to walk on a road that was farther away. Wang Yong does have a lot of things he needs to know, and Yang Chen was the best person who could solve Wang Yong's doubts. A lot of things which happened directly involved Yang Chen. Regarding the level of details about the knowledge, apart from the master of the palace, other elders couldn't compare with Yang Chen. Yang Chen introduced the incidents that happened during the retreat of the master ancestors to him in detail. He promoted himself, and his master and senior sisters were also promoted to Jidan stage, detonating the greatest heaven sect, Ming Guangruo and Mao Kai, and the others came to the sect to ask about their innocence, etc. In accordance with the sequence, he spoke out all the way. When he heard that the greatest heaven sect was hit hard, Wang Yong laughed happily. When he heard that Ming Guangruo had come to the sect to pressure them, Wang Yong's laughter had become a sneer. No hurry, they are good for nothing. After the sneer, Wang Yong directly threw a sentence: this account, sooner or later, will come back. You continue. Next, it was natural that Ming Guangruo and the others were once again swayed by the words of the island master, and they left behind their life source magic weapon. As a result, Yang Chen erased the owner's consciousness in the flying sword, and they ate a big loss. In this section, Wang Yong was of course happy. Yang Chen was his grand apprentice, destroying tens of thousands of outer sect disciples in the greatest heaven sect, taking from a master of the daching stage, and robbing people of 15 of their life source magic weapon. This kind of thing was even more convenient than him. Behind the banyan tree cave, he bought the cultivation methods, killed the second city lord, got the monster race inheritance. These things, each piece made Wang Yong slightly drop his jaw. In particular, when he heard that Yang Chen got the monster race inheritance, and Yang Chen directly talked with the head of the palace and the elders to discuss the things that were won in the banyan tree immortal's cave, even let Wang Yong's eyes become stunned. He simply doesn't know how to describe his own grand disciple. He thought that Yang Chen was already a very formidable person, but he still underestimated Yang Chen. He killed a master of the daching stage and still kept the body intact, even the monster core was not damaged. Even if he was now a master of the daching stage, he did not dare to promise that he could achieve this. Yang Chen, a disciple of the early Jidan stage, actually did this. The body of the second city master was placed in front of Wang Yong's eyes. This body of a master of the daching stage that he wanted to refine into a puppet. Naturally, Wang Yong's high-handed manpower was required. Although the old tree demon's cultivation was higher, the old tree demon Gi Shanyu himself was also of the monster race. If they let him refine the body of a monster race daching stage master, psychologically there may be a contradiction. This was something that Yang Chen wanted to give to his master as a life-saving magic weapon. Giving it to Wang Yong, who was also the master of Gaoyu, was a perfectly justified thing to do. After carefully examining the body of the second city master, Wang Yong collected the body of the master of the daching stage. For Yang Chen to consider Gaoyu, Wang Yong was satisfied, and he did not hesitate to agree to it. Another thing was about Yang Chen going to the extreme northland and accepting a genius disciple of the monster race, which made Wang Yong comfort himself about his old age. His own grand disciple actually had a disciple, then his own generation, was it not the senior generation? Wang Yong had never doubted Yang Chen's vision. Since Yang Chen said that Mu Bai was a genius, he would never be wrong. Wang Yong now really wanted to see his own grand disciple's disciple and see how it was. Finally, Yang Chen was able to tell about the recent incident about the inner sensing pill. Hearing that Yang Chen was refining a new kind of medicinal pill, and this second-grade inner sensing pill, let the two hall masters of the peak Jidan stage, who were trapped in the peak Jidan stage for decades, cross their tribulations in just 3 months. Wang Yong almost jumped up in surprise. What kind of medicinal pill is it? Why is it so strong? Wang Yong directly extended his hand to Yang Chen. He had to see for himself what kind of medicinal pill it was and how it could be so powerful. If it was really able to make a Jidan stage master form his nascent soul, would it not be comparable to the high-grade nascent soul forming medicinal pill? How could Yang Chen refuse the request of the master ancestor? The second-grade questioning inner heart pill was better than the inner sensing pill. He directly took out the first-grade inner sensing pills and second-grade inner sensing pills and handed them over to the hands of the master ancestor. When he took it over, Wang Yong carefully observed the first-grade inner sensing pill and then he put it in his mouth for the inspection. Even the protective array has not been set. The master ancestor was a master of the daching stage and naturally he would not care about the small side effects of the inner sensing pill. Yang Chen didn't remind him, he just waited slowly. Soon, Wang Yong recovered from the closed-eye experience and opened his eyes. He seemed to be thoughtful. After a while, he directly took the second-grade inner sensing pill. This time, the time was shorter, but the master ancestor was sweating and soon he opened his eyes, thinking for a while, and a smile appeared on his face. Good things, I thought that I have been tempered by the yin fire and the spirit Cayenne blood has already been promoted to the daching stage. I didn't expect to have a place to take care of good things. He was almost straightforward to praise. Wang Yong was not afraid to praise his own grand disciple for his medicinal pill. Wang Yong's words made Yang Chen surprised and happy. Originally, he thought that this medicinal pill had no effect on the masters of the Daching stage, but did not expect to be able to help the master ancestor. This fully showed that in the early Daching stage, the second grade inner sensing pill could also be effective, which also means that the preciousness of the second grade inner sensing pill had raised a step. This is the pill recipe of the monster race, and other people can get it. Can it be transferred to the second grade refining system by them? Wang Yong's first thought was to ask Yang Chen if other alchemy masters could also refine the second grade inner sensing pill. To be honest, the first grade inner sensing pill, even Zhanxian, could not gain too much help from it. It could only let him have more references and find out the problems of his previous cultivation. The second grade inner sensing pill was the real medicinal pill that changed everything. Wang Yong asked this question, he just wanted to know if this pill was an exclusive resource of the Pure Yang Palace. There is a certain amount of trouble in the refining of the second grade inner sensing pill. Yang Chen had the most say in this matter. There is a need for multiple fire seeds to be used together, and it must be controlled by several kinds of 5th grade fire seeds at the same time. That is to say, it is not so easy for others to refine. Wang Yong was also a fire cultivator, of course he knew the difficulty. There were the several kinds of 5th grade fire seeds, which were not a big deal for some big sects. However, if they wanted to control several kinds of 5th grade fire seeds at the same time, it required a lot of time and effort. Even if there was a fire cultivator alchemist master who began to cultivate after knowing it, it would not be possible in less than hundreds of years. Not everyone was Yang Chen, able to have such a monstrous fire controlling ability. Moreover, if the general alchemy master began to carry out the second refining system and certainly did not know the key, which would take at least tens of hundreds of years to study how to carry out the second refining system. Between the time of the study, it meant that the Pure Yang Palace could enjoy the second grade inner sensing pill for at least 200 years. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 327. The Sect Support. Wang Yong was happy with this, but Yang Chen still had something upsetting him. Soon, Wang Yong discovered this. Was there any trouble recently? He was promoted to the master of the Daching stage, and Wang Yong was shocked by his sensitivity and asked immediately. The disciples do have some troubles. Yang Chen did not hide at all. He replied directly, master and senior sister both had spiritual awareness double cultivation with me, now there is the fairy shy of the green jade immortal island and the snow fairy of the blue cloud sect, this disciple does not know how to treat it. How difficult is this? Wang Yong listened and almost blurted out, the people who cultivate are not necessarily trapped by etiquette. If you have the heart for it, you will accept all of them. If you don't, then you will refuse. Today, my Pure Yang Palace is not the Pure Yang Palace in the past. You are not an insignificant disciple of the younger generation. Why bother with these things now? We are talking. These words have already explained the confidence and status of Wang Yong. After all, he still had to look at Yang Chen's own thoughts. Even if he refused Zhanxian and Sun Qingxu, the Green Jade Immortal Island and the Blue Cloud sect would not get angry because of this matter with the Pure Yang Palace. The Pure Yang Palace now, as Wang Yong said, was no longer the Pure Yang Palace of the past. The interests of the sect were no longer the shackles of Yang Chen, which made Yang Chen's choice more out of his own heart. Wang Yong's words had thoroughly demonstrated his attitude towards Yang Chen. As long as Yang Chen was willing to do so, he would fully support it. In the discourse, there was some other content that was intentionally or unintentionally revealed. It was not necessary to be trapped by etiquette. It seems to be reminding Yang Chen that there was no need to care about his master and disciple relationship with Gao Yu. There were many people cultivating, and the master and disciple double cultivation was not starting from Yang Chen and Gao Yu, and it would never end with them. Many times, cultivators would try their best to find a suitable Dao companion as a double cultivator. In most cases, it was quite normal to train one from scratch. Therefore, the relationship between mentoring and apprenticeship should not become an obstacle between Yang Chen and Gao Yu. Even Wang Yong was not opposed to it. What other reasons and identity do others have to be against it? I don't have to bother. It was also the first time for Yang Chen to hear someone say this to him. There was a feeling of seeing the clouds on the road, but after all, there were still some concerns, so he seemed to be somewhat unconfident. Of course. Wang Yong laughed and said at this time, who can stop what you want to do? A Yuning stage master? Or a master of the Daching stage? Unless it is the power of these several big sects, but would they do that just to stop a pair of master and apprentice from having double cultivation? Don't their sect disciples have double cultivation with each other? Or have they rejected their disciples? Don't forget, my Pure Yang Palace is always standing behind you. Although Yang Chen was still only a small Jidan stage master, only a few Yuning stage masters were his opponent. Even if Yang Chen was willing, the masters of the Daching stage would not be able to defeat him. This point, whether it was Luo Yuan or the second city master, had already set an example. Do what you want to do, don't worry about anyone or anything. Wang Yong's voice was like it was coming from the clouds, filling Yang Chen's ears. Don't say that you are just overcast, just a few times, even if you smashed into the gates of the greatest heaven sect tomorrow, there would be the sect behind you. Even if there is a war, the whole sect will not hesitate. After being promoted to the Daching stage, Wang Yong seemed to have thought about a lot of things and saw a lot of things. So when he spoke out, it was even more passionate. Yes. The voice of the head of the palace who he did not know when he had been there was heard. Yang Chen began to think with fascination, so he did not find the arrival of the head of the palace. Hearing the voice of the head of the palace, Yang Chen raised his head and looked at the palace master with surprise. The head of the palace master nodded slightly to Wang Yong, then turned to Yang Chen and said with a smile, everything you do is in consideration for the sect. There is absolutely no reason for the sect not to support you. The fairy shy of the Green Jade Immortal Island and the snow fairy of the Blue Cloud sect, if you like to take them together then do it, if you don't like it, you will refuse all, no need to consider other things. Yang Chen was a calm person, and with the memories of 2 lives he had experience in dealing with his feelings. However, in the words of Wang Yong and the head of the palace, he was so proud. As a real man, if he wanted to do it, why would he think so much? The advice given to him by Wang Yong was not only emotional, but was also a daily conduct. The previous few small plots against the Greatest Heaven sect were basically hidden in the dark so that the Greatest Heaven sect could not grasp the handle of it. Speaking of it, there was no such thing as a face-lifting knife. But in Yang Chen's mind, he just wanted to scruple the power contrast between the Pure Yang Palace and the Greatest Heaven sect, fearing to implicate the Pure Yang Palace. However, Wang Yong let him know that the sect absolutely supported him. The idea of the master of the palace was also the same. Needless to say, other elders must have the same mind. Yang Chen was in the Pure Yang Palace, which cannot be erased. Therefore, as long as it was Yang Chen's accident, it would definitely be related to the Pure Yang Palace. Yang Chen suddenly understood this point and the long-standing worry in his heart seemed to have been thrown into the air. He felt loose in his whole body up and down, which was very refreshing, even his spiritual power seems to have let go of its bondage and was swimming in his body. The already condensed 3rd fire, 4th fire and 1st wood spirit power, the 3 most primitive spiritual powers of the 5th earth true essence, 7th metal true essence and 10th water true essence, were madly surging and impacting. In Yang Chen's mind, there was a little bit of enlightenment. It seems that as long as he could get more 5th earth true essence, 7th metal true essence or 10th water true essence like the 1st wood true essence spiritual solution, these 3 spiritual powers could immediately condense Dan. The 7th metal true essence left by Golden Star of the Sun, he was definitely going to have a look at it. The 10th water true essence was also convenient, but it only needed for him to stay at the sea for a long time, and the sea jasper would naturally condense some. At that time, there would be 2 more spiritual powers to condense Dan, and maybe it could drive all the spiritual powers to condense. Even Yang Chen did not think that this consultation with Wang Yong could have such benefits, it was unexpected. After silently controlling his spiritual power to calm down, he heard that the head of the palace was discussing with Wang Yong the method of handling the 2nd grade inner sensing pills. Since we can monopolize it alone, then we can't let go of this kind of benefit. The master of the palace had already learned from Wang Yong the difficulty of refining the 2nd grade inner sensing pill. The alchemist masters can crack it in 200 years, then we will with the 200 years collect the biggest benefits. We can provide even the 2nd grade inner sensing pill. These 2nd grade inner sensing pills can be the same. The master of the palace seems to have a draft in the blink of an eye. If you want, easy, take things to trade for it. The 2nd grade questioning inner heart pills was the first discussion between Yang Chen and the head of the palace. In a batch of questioning inner heart pills, the 1st grade questioning inner heart pills was mixed with 2 or 3 2nd grade questioning inner heart pills to be offered to the Green Jade Immortal Island. The 1st grade questioning inner heart pill had been astounding, and it wasn't known how powerful the 2nd grade questioning inner heart pill would be, there was almost no need to ask. The Green Jade Immortal Island would definitely be looking at the 2 or 3 2nd grade questioning inner heart pills as treasures. Shy Zhanxian's problem, Yang Chen also drilled the horns of his own. In fact, only looking at these 2nd grade questioning inner heart pills, what Yang Chen wants, the Green Jade Immortal Island would definitely not oppose. The treatment of the senior alchemist was not thought of by Yang Chen. Of course, this was also related to his previous life in hiding. It was known that the senior alchemists were very popular, but he had not seen it personally. The sect had set a strategy, and the following was naturally the vigorous implementation. However, this was not to let the Puryang Palace disciples go to the local area to announce it, but inadvertently, when several friends who knew each other were conversing, they accidentally leaked it out. This way, not only could it be credible, there would be no suspicion through speculation. Soon, some people accidentally revealed that 3 months ago, the Hallmaster Ming of the Fierce Yang Palace of the Puryang Palace crossed his tribulation at the entrance of Yang Chen's pill room. In the chat of another group of people, it was revealed that Zhanxian, the foreign affairs hallmaster of the Puryang Palace, who had recently been able to form his nascent soul, waited for a whole month outside the pill room of Yang Chen. After Yang Chen's exit, they went to the center of the Puryang Palace for him to cross his tribulation. The two people's tribulations were all related to Yang Chen and the relationship between the newly born Daching stage master, Wang Yong, and Yang Chen, as the master ancestor and grand disciple. He was sure to have relied on the ability of the questioning inner heart pill to be successful. This time, for Yang Chen, many sects began to pay more attention. It was too extravagant for the peak Jitan stage master to use the questioning inner heart pill to form his nascent soul, not to mention the Puryang Palace, which of the martial arts sects of the Green Jade Immortal Island and the Greatest Heaven sect could do this. 10,000 years spirit medicine, you could not get it if you just wanted to get it. Even if Yang Chen had a great fortune, it was impossible to have so many refining materials. Then, there could only be a new medicinal pill. Soon, people who had a relationship with the Puryang Palace came to the sect and asked for details. At this time, the Puryang Palace seems to realize that it was impossible to keep this secret. They told everyone that the two people who crossed their tribulations was indeed because of a medicinal pill. As for the name of the pill, it was called Inner Sensing Pill. Since the name of the pill was available, people who were well informed would immediately know the origin of the pill. This was a monster race medicinal pill. Although the pill recipe was rare, it was not impossible to obtain. It was certainly impossible to ask for the pill recipe on the spot when they went to the Puryang Palace, but since there was a direction, it was not wrong to find the monster race. In particular, some of the big sects had the pill recipe of this kind of medicinal pill in their hands. After hearing the news, they would start experimenting immediately. The medicinal materials of the inner sensing pill were not rare, although they all need to be hundreds of years old. For many martial arts sects, it was not something that was difficult to do. The inner sensing pill of the monster race seemed to be very simple, but even so, even Yang Chen took half a year for his first time before he succeeded in refining the first great inner sensing pill. Several martial arts sects capable of refining began refining immediately, and the alchemists closed their alchemy rooms while others were waiting laboriously. Yang Chen would not manage these things. When Wang Yong crossed his tribulation and reached the Daching stage and the news came out, the entire cultivation world clamored and various sects came to congratulate him. This was different from the old tree demon Qi Shanyu joining the sect. After all, the old tree demon was still a monster, but Wang Yong was a disciple of the Puryang Palace and he had the status of an elder, which was absolutely not ordinary. Moreover, after the questioning inner heart pill came out, the Puryang Palace did not know how many people wanted to form a relationship with them, so the ready-made opportunity was sent to their door. As long as various ex and rogue cultivators had a relationship with the Puryang Palace, it was through the excuse of this congratulatory door to close the relationship with the Puryang Palace. If nothing else, just for one day, perhaps in exchange for a high price, to exchange for a questioning inner heart pill from the Puryang Palace. Yang Chen stayed in the Puryang Palace and did not go out. Master Ancestor Wang Yong succeeded in his tribulation. After his master Gao Yu heard it, she would definitely return. He was waiting quietly in the sect and he would soon see his master Gao Yu and his senior sister Gong Sunling. In addition, the Blue Cloud sect's master Lu said that after 3 years they would be visiting the Puryang Palace. Now only half a year was left. Yang Chen was also waiting here for their reception. However, Yang Chen was not without anything to do. The reward from Green Jade Immortal Island had already been handed over to Yang Chen. After the Green Jade Immortal Island got the questioning inner heart pills, which was sent by Yang Chen, they were pleasantly surprised to find that there were 2 second-grade questioning inner heart pills among the other pills. A first-grade questioning inner heart pill has been able to let a master of the Daching stage directly break through the bottleneck in the middle stage. This sudden surprise directly surprised the island master and the elders, and they didn't know how to express it. Based on Yang Chen's overfulfilled tasks, the conditions for the cooperation between the Green Jade Immortal Island and the Puryang Palace had also changed. Originally, the Green Jade Immortal Island was planning to give more benefits to Puryang Palace, but the head of the palace refused the goodwill of the Green Jade Immortal Island, saying that the transaction had already been agreed upon and couldn't be changed easily. This point had won the favor of the Green Jade Immortal Island. Speaking of it, the master of the palace was also in disguise, thanks to the island master, because the last time the island master took the initiative to take the opportunity to help them deal with the greatest heaven sect, otherwise the Pure Yang Palace would have suffered an insult. Moreover, after Ming Guangruo's life source magic weapon was snatched, the island master also shared a great suspicion. However, this made the Green Jade Immortal Island more fond of the Pure Yang Palace. Based on Yang Chen's excess, when they asked for the questioning inner heart pills, and the Pure Yang Palace did not accept temporary changes, so the benefits of these thanks fell to Yang Chen. The Green Jade Immortal Island prepared the fire seeds directly and sent it to the Pure Yang Palace. These included 63rd grade fire seeds, 15 4th grade fire seeds, and 2 5th grade fire seeds. Compared with the ones which was promised to Yang Chen at that time, there were more than 50% of the total, and there was also precious 5th grade fire seeds. When Yang Chen came back, he threw out the monster race materials. The palace master forgot to hand over these things to Yang Chen on the spot, and Yang Chen immediately closed up for his alchemy, then Qiaming crossed his tribulation, and then he closed up for refining, plus Zhanxian and Wang Yong tribulations. He had been busy until this time, so the palace master handed over these things to Yang Chen. In the face of so many kinds of fire seeds, Yang Chen could not help but sigh. The Green Jade Immortal Island was the Green Jade Immortal Island indeed. In his previous life, for Yang Chen to obtain the 5th grade True Sun Fire seed, it was not known how much thought it took and how many hardships he had to endure. Even the present-day Daching stage master, Elder Wu Xiong, had spent a few years looking for the True Moon Fire of Helianian. However, the Green Jade Immortal Island had sent him 2 kinds of it, the sect power was evident. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 328. Being of One Mind. When he got these kinds of fire seeds, Yang Chen went straight to his place of residence. Yang Chen's small courtyard was full of spiritual power, but there was no servant to take care of it. Gao Yu sent her maid directly to help him take care of it usually. Yang Chen left for so long, but the room in the small courtyard was still abnormally clean, and there was no dilapidation because Yang Chen was absent. After greeting the maid, Yang Chen began to absorb these fire seeds one by one. The yin-yang burning heavenly fire was now a higher level fire seed at the 3rd grade, so Yang Chen also started from the 3rd grade fire seeds. He was afraid that it would not be so easy to use the yin-yang burning heavenly fire to absorb the 3rd grade fire seeds after reaching the Jidan stage. Fortunately, the absorption process was completely automatic and did not require too much effort from Yang Chen. What Yang Chen was doing now was to control the profound spirit furnace to store these fire seeds first. Although the Green Jade Immortal Island had kept these fire seeds very well, Yang Chen would feel more at ease if it was in the profound spirit furnace. The profound spirit furnace had absorbed several kinds of 5th grade fire seeds. After blending most of the cyan crystal profound gold, it had the same qualitative change as the same nature of the yin-yang burning heavenly fire. The more fire seeds that were absorbed, the stronger the profound spirit furnace became. The stronger the profound spirit furnace was, the faster the speed of the absorption of the fire seeds. Now it was absorbing the 3rd grade fire seeds, but it was as simple as the absorption of a 1st grade fire seed. Even so, a 3rd grade fire seed would take Yang Chen at least 4 or 5 days. Yang Chen absorbed them for 2 months before he absorbed the 15 kinds of 3rd grade fire seeds into the profound spirit furnace. It was necessary to absorb it all, so it didn't take a short time. On this day, Yang Chen was controlling the absorption of one of the 3rd grade fire seeds. When it was about to be completed, his heart suddenly moved and there was an indescribable joy in his heart. This kind of emotion came so suddenly that Yang Chen was very surprised. However, the mood of joy did not stop him from working with his hands. He still managed to control the profound spirit furnace, and after inhaling the 3rd grade fire seed that were being absorbed into the furnace, he stood up and pondered the inexplicable mood. What's going on? The inexplicable joy came with no reason, was it in his heart? Yang Chen carefully looked through his mind and there was no such thing as a cultivation deviation in his memory. He just felt happy, no matter whether it was his spirit power or spiritual awareness, there was no change, it should not be a cultivation deviation. Soon, Yang Chen suddenly discovered that when faced with a certain direction, this feeling was at the strongest. Yang Chen couldn't help but feel a movement in his heart. The spiritual awareness threads of the peak early Daching stage swiftly expanded in the direction crazily, and in a moment, it reached 100 miles away. Forcibly suppressing the excitement, Yang Chen urged the spiritual awareness to explore the farthest places in that direction. As a former Great Principle Golden Immortal, Yang Chen also knew that spiritual awareness was not omnipotent. Otherwise, Ming Guangruo would find that something was wrong with his flying sword and could detect many clues. However, after all, the spiritual awareness threads were several times faster than the flying swords. After a while, the spiritual awareness were thousands of miles away from the scope of the Myking mountain range. This was not the limit of Yang Chen's spiritual awareness exploration. You must know that Yang Chen's spiritual awareness was now open fully and he was exploring a particular direction. When he concentrates on exploring in a certain direction, he could even explore 5 times larger than the scope of his exploration usually. A stick of incense time later, Yang Chen's spiritual awareness finally reached the limit, 2,000 miles. This was Yang Chen's farthest distance when exploring in this direction. He could detect that there was a person who was moving towards the side hurriedly. After waiting for a while, Yang Chen's spiritual awareness knew the existence of that person. These familiar figures, Yang Chen almost directly called out to them. That was his master Gao Yu. There was another familiar shadow around, it was his senior sister Gongsun Ling. He didn't know why, but Yang Chen could feel his master's attraction to himself, but couldn't detect Gongsun Ling. Gao Yu was obviously somewhat confused, but after entering the scope of the exploration of Yang Chen's spiritual awareness, Yang Chen sent a thought directly to his master, using the beast-controlling secret art method. Master? In the mind of Gao Yu, Yang Chen's voice suddenly sounded, and she was overjoyed. Finally, it was a timely response. This was not because Yang Chen was talking to her. She did not openly ask Yang Chen why. I am in my residence in the sect. Yang Chen's voice of joy was not pretending and appeared again in the mind of Gao Yu. Then, after a pause, Yang Chen suddenly said, I miss you, master. This time, it let Gao Yu's face and ears directly become red. She couldn't communicate directly with Yang Chen. She didn't have Yang Chen's beast-controlling secret art and she also didn't have the communication ability of the monster soul. Gao Yu could only listen to Yang Chen's words, but could not respond. Just listening to Yang Chen's words, Gao Yu was somewhat ashamed, but her heart was happy. She also felt strange. When she passed somewhere, she felt that there was something in front of her that attracted her. Suddenly, there was an inexplicable joy. It was precisely because of this that Gao Yu accelerated back to the sect with Gongsun Ling and she heard Yang Chen's voice on the road. Does this mean that she and Yang Chen had an indescribable connection? Could it be caused by the double cultivation? Gao Yu was not sure because Gongsun Ling does not seem to respond to it. Senior sister. Yang Chen did not pay any attention to this. After speaking 2 sentences with his master, he also sent a greeting to Gongsun Ling. Yang Chen. Gongsun Ling could not be as calm as Gao Yu and she called out directly. However, she immediately realized that she did not seem to see the shadow of Yang Chen. When Gongsun Ling opened her mouth, Yang Chen listened very clearly and he knew that he could do this. This time, Yang Chen also sent a message to his master and senior sister welcome back to the sect. Listening to the call that Gongsun Ling blurted out, Gao Yu also understood that this was definitely what Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling also said. However, looking at Gongsun Ling's astonished look it was not like the same feeling as herself. She was relaxed, she doesn't know why she felt like this. Maybe, when she sees Yang Chen back in the sect, she could explain it all. Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling once again speeded up and set the flight of their flying sword to the highest, while Yang Chen was already driving the shuttle to fly over here. The speed of the shuttle was faster, the 2 sides accelerate, and less than an hour, Yang Chen and his master and sister met in the middle. He didn't want to think about it. Yang Chen directly included the 2 women in the shuttle. He adjusted the direction of the shuttle to the Pure Yang Palace and he turned to his master and sister. I have been waiting for you for a long time, master, sister. Faced with the 2 women, Yang Chen blurted out. From the last time he left the Pure Yang Palace to go to the 10,000 Trees Forest, it was now more than 9 years. Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling both went out to gain experience after consolidating their realm. If they had not heard that Wang Yong had crossed his tribulation to become a daching stage master, Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling might have stayed outside for some time. When they saw Yang Chen, the 2 women couldn't believe it that Yang Chen could find their whereabouts, especially Gongsun Ling, at such a long distance. It's impossible to imagine that Yang Chen was exploring with his spiritual awareness all the time. This was not a good phenomenon. Exploring others at any time would be considered a provocation unless the other party was a friend or relative. Gongsun Ling certainly would not think that Yang Chen was provoking herself, but what about others? Only Gao Yu slightly guessed some reasons, but did not say it. Between the 2, they didn't know what the reason was, only that there was a connection that was incomprehensible. As long as it was within a certain distance, they could detect the existence of the other party. The inexplicable joy was caused by the close proximity of both sides. However, at this time, neither Yang Chen nor Gao Yu elaborated on anything, they simply enjoyed the silent joy in their hearts. In fact, meeting again was a pleasure in itself. The 2 women were told that Wang Yong's tribulation took turns and naturally they were more concerned about this matter. Yang Chen would never conceal from the 2 women this kind of thing. But before they heard that Wang Yong crossed his tribulation, they heard that Qiao Ming and Zhu Qingxin took a second-grade inner sensing pill, causing the forming of their nascent soul. The two women still issued an uncontrollable exclamation. Only a few years later, Yang Chen made another kind of medicinal pill that allowed Jidan stage masters to enter the Yuning realm. It was absolutely sensational. Although the news was only circulated among a small number of people, the two women were convinced that Yang Chen would definitely become a darling figure again because of this brand new pill. In this regard, Yang Chen did not care. What he cared about was that his master returned safely and his senior sister was safe and sound. After her appointment with her master Wang Yong, Yang Chen had a lot of words to say to his master. The first thing to do when they returned to the sect was to go to see the elder Wang Yong. That was the purpose of the two women for coming back. As an apprentice of Wang Yong, Gao Yu easily saw Wang Yong and Gongsun Ling certainly followed. After paying respect to Wang Yong also encouraged Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling with a few words and the two women returned. Gongsun Ling was going to visit her master, so Yang Chen was accompanying Gao Yu back to the small courtyard of Gao Yu. Although there were thousands of words in her heart that she wanted to ask Yang Chen, but when it came to the end, Gao Yu found that when she faced Yang Chen alone, she couldn't say anything. Finally, there was only one sentence which was said, "How are you doing recently?" Yang Chen was not scornful. He directly told her about his experience after leaving the Puryang Palace. Of course, some of the things involved the secret of the sect. Yang Chen was still cautious and did not say these, but the process was already quite thrilling, especially killing the second city lord mainly for Gao Yu to refine it into a flying puppet. But it also let Gao Yu who listened to it become stunned. "The body of the master of the Daching stage, you are refining it to give to me to use for my flight." Gao Yu did not know whether to be surprised or happy. Yang Chen had this heart, she felt very sweet in her heart, but for this, one must venture to challenge a master of the Daching stage. This was by no means what Gao Yu was willing to see. "I didn't provoke him. He chased after me. This disciple could only kill him." Yang Chen said this disciple gave him 3 chances, but he continued to chase and tried to kill me. It was also difficult for this disciple. On this issue, Gao Yu still did not say anything after all. Yang Chen came to her for the second time. Yang Chen won the victory and came back to bring back the body of the second city master of the Daching stage. In the end, she just left one sentence. "You will not do such dangerous things in the future." Yang Chen, of course, nodded and promised and then continued to confess to his master that he had accepted Mu Bai as his disciple. When she heard that she already became master ancestor Gao Yu, she had an unusual mood. In the same way, she never doubted Yang Chen's vision. For Yang Chen's means of pointing his disciples, she was more reassured, just like Wang Yong. She was curious to see what this apprentice was like. The trouble he was facing that he asked for advice from Wang Yong, Yang Chen, of course, would not mention it to Gao Yu. After trying to understand some things, Yang Chen understood that as a man, he wants his own happiness and must fight for himself. The same was true for Gao Yu's feelings. He couldn't wait for Gao Yu to arrange it and he couldn't wait for Gao Yu to find out the question. The best way to deal with it was to take the initiative. "Master, although it is somewhat disrespectful, but this disciples have figured it out, there are some words this disciples must say." Looking at Gao Yu's emotions which was still calm, Yang Chen quietly placed a mask of sound barriers outside, followed by saying this to Gao Yu. Looking at Yang Chen's so serious opening, Gao Yu seemed to realize what he was going to say. Her head was slightly lowered, she bit her teeth and asked softly, "What?" "I like you, master." Yang Chen did not hesitate this time and straightforwardly said something that had long since lingered in his heart. He never said this before in my life. This life he was finally standing in front of his master and he has spoken out this sentence loudly. Even if she had already guessed that Yang Chen might say this, when she really heard the words that Yang Chen said, Gao Yu still had a sigh of relief in her mind. Her heart has already been overflowing with joy, but there was still a voice in her mind that kept asking, "He is my apprentice, what should I do? What should I do? I know that this may be awkward, but I want to understand that without you being around, even if I am a Great Principle Golden Immortal, even if I became the Jade Emperor, it would be the greatest regret in my life." Since he has spoken the words, Yang Chen does not care about showing his true feelings to Master. "I don't want my life to have this regret. Master, I like you. You can go, Gao Yu listened to Yang Chen's words and there was tears in her eyes. She didn't know if she was happy or anxious. She even said 2 things, but the following words was not coming out. "I like you, I want to marry you." Yang Chen continued to say loudly. "I want you to be my wife." In the speech, he originally claimed to be a disciple and now Yang Chen has also changed to me. "Your master ancestor will not agree." Gao Yu confided directly to Wang Yong, her face was blood red, her head was almost low to her chest, "The master of the palace will not agree. Even if the whole heaven is opposed, I will marry you as a wife." Yang Chen's voice has never been so firm, the ancestor and the masters of the palace, they have no objections. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 329. Agreement. Bao Yu didn't know if she heard what Yang Chen after that. She didn't even know if Yang Chen had talked again. She just heard Yang Chen firmly saying that he would marry her, and then he said that the palace master and Wang Yong were not in opposition of it. After that she fell into a sluggish state. There has not been much time to get along with Yang Chen. This was about 100 years since Yang Chen's apprenticeship. The real time Gao Yu spent with him was only about 10 years. Even if Yang Chen, Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling retired together for 3 or 50 years, they only cultivated separately and had little time to chat and communicate. At most, when Yang Chen was cultivating, Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling would serve as his protectors, or he would do it for them. However, this was the case. Between Yang Chen and Gao Yu, there was still a feeling that was growing slowly. This was a feeling that has left the apprenticeship realm, and the two did not find it at first. Yang Chen always thought that he only remembered his master's care for himself in his previous life, and he was grateful for his own burning of indiscriminately. However, he did not expect that in his past life he had missed it, and that kind of gratitude had already been replaced by another feeling. Fortunately, Yang Chen figured it out at this time and said something. As soon as the words were spoken, Yang Chen felt that the stone in his heart was really put down. Bao Yu was already feeling overflowing joy. What did Yang Chen do for her? How could she not know? Killing Chu Heng, coming to the 100,000 mountains to save her life because the other side hurt herself, so he did not hesitate to uproot the 100,000 mountains. One thing at a time, which contains Yang Chen's thoughts on herself. Gao Yu was only hindered by the relationship between master and apprentice. She never dared to clarify these things. Later, she discovered that the Green Jade Immortal Island and the Blue Cloud sect were interested in pulling him to their side, so instead she moved her mind to withdraw. Now Yang Chen set in front of her face his desire to marry her. Gao Yu's happiness was to the limit and there was an emptiness in her mind. She doesn't even know how to answer. It was not until Gao Yu noticed that her hand had been caught by Yang Chen that she became sober. This was first time for Yang Chen to take the initiative to take the hand of Gao Yu, because of the reason being the yellow turban strongman body refining technique. His hand was more than twice as big as Gao Yu, and his body was so strong that it is like a big bully who was overpowering the local beauty. It was very funny. When the two people's hands were pulled by each other, they suddenly had a heartfelt connection. The joy in the hearts of the two sides seemed to be connected together. Needless of them saying anything, naturally, they knew each other's wishes. It was not known when Gao Yu had slowly leaned back into Yang Chen's arms. This was the first time such a close contact between the two had happened besides the spiritual awareness double cultivation, but the wonderful taste was like drinking the jade dragon wine, involuntarily intoxicated. None of them talked because no one was willing to talk. Gao Yu and Yang Chen were embracing, standing quietly, enjoying the silent tacit of understanding and joy. Bao Yu's heart has already flown into the air. She never thought that when she was leaning on Yang Chen's arms, it would feel so beautiful. At this moment, she didn't want any mentoring. She was not the master of Yang Chen was not her own apprentice, he was just her own love. The beautiful dreams were broken when Gao Yu woke up from the intoxication, it was already after 2 hours. The two stood up like this. Actually stood for 2 hours. What about Fairy Shy and Snow Fairy? What should your senior sister do? When she woke up from the beautiful dream, the first thing that Gao Yu thought of was the women who had something to do with Yang Chen. Needless to say, Zhanxian has long been known as the double cultivation Dao companion of Yang Chen. Although Sun Qingxu still does not have this reputation, the Blue Cloud sect has already made plans for it. Moreover, Sun Qingxu and Yang Chen also had some unclear involvement. Not to mention Gongsun Ling. She already had spiritual awareness double cultivation with Yang Chen and helped Yang Chen solve a big problem. The girls had long been secretly convinced of Yang Chen. Even if Zhanxian and Sun Qingxu don't care, Gao Yu must talk to Gongsun Ling. Yang Chen also fell into silence. He and these women were indeed somewhat entangled and they cannot make decisions lightly. Although Zhanxian was very unhappy with him at the beginning, later they achieved their silent fighting and tacit understanding. It was not with anyone that this could be achieved. The cold and unparalleled Fairy Shy always shows a slight smile in front of Yang Chen. Yang Chen also had to leave an amount of 4C's mysterious coral liquid for Zhanxian, but was already unconsciously worried. Sun Qingxu and Yang Chen's acquaintance was almost as early as his with Zhanxian. According to the clues in his memory, Yang Chen had helped Sun Qingxu several times in a row. Coupled with a later experience, Sun Qingxu was dead set on Yang Chen. Yang Chen also likes this cheerful person. In front of him, she was a cute little girl. For Gongsun Yang Chen has no need to think more, there was already the fact that he has a spiritual awareness double cultivation with her, and Yang Chen would never let her down. Before Yang Chen was most worried thought, it was also the thought of Gao Yu. Now that there was no obstacle between himself and Gao Yu, Yang Chen has laid down the biggest worry in his heart. Gao Yu asked about the other people, Yang Qi could now consider everything. I don't know what master thinks, as long as I am a man, I will fantasize to accept the two fairies and my sister. Since he has already clarified the relationship with his master, Yang Chen does not care about this. I am also a man, and I have had such thoughts. But if master doesn't like it, then you can tell me. In this world, men with 3 wives and 4 wives were commonplace, and Yang Chen certainly dreams of such beauty. There were many reasons why Yang Chen was not willing to cause his master to be unhappy because of this. Here, Yang Chen still played a slap in the face and threw the problem to his master. There was still a bit of fantasy in his heart. Whether it was the Cold Plum Fairy Maiden or the Snow Dance Fairy Maiden, their later generations were famous big names in the world. Because of this, he was not willing to incur their hatred. The Green Jade Immortal Island and Blue Cloud Sect, although it may not be because of this, what about the Pure Yang Palace? Their own genius disciples were rejected, and there will always be some dissatisfaction. Just now he showed his master his heart, but immediately confessed to master that he had this illusion. It was also the first time for Yang Chen. It couldn't be helped but be said, even if Yang Chen had more knowledge, in terms of feelings, he was still a rookie among rookies. Although Gao Yu put down the concern in her heart when she heard Yang Chen's words, there was still a thought of kicking Yang Chen out. But when she turned around and thought that Yang Chen didn't hide this grade of thoughts from her. It was better than the guys who would do it behind her back. Even Gao Yu herself did not understand how could it involve Yang Chen and everything would be beneficial. Gao Yu did not immediately answer Yang Chen. Although she has accepted that she may be with Yang Chen in the future, she still needs to reorganize many things. Of course, Yang Chen would not force Gao Yu, but he would tell the story of the Blue Cloud Sect visit to the Pure Yang Palace in a few months. The content of the transaction must be kept secret, but for Gao Yu, Yang Chen did not hide it. When she heard that Yang Chen still has a bunch of fire seeds in his hands that needed to be absorbed. Gao Yu also suppressed her thoughts for Yang Chen to complete the matter as soon as possible. It was related to the cultivation of Yang Chen, and it was a great point to absorb a fire seed for Yang Chen. Of course, Gao Yu would pay attention to it. The two people met, there was not much warmth, just a simple hand holding to embrace, the two had the same mind. It seems that they have been together for 100 years. In fact, the two people have known each other for 100 years. Yang Chen said what he wanted to say and got the results he wanted. Although there were still no conclusions about the affairs of several other women, Yang Chen does not care at all. As long as his master promises, then everything would be fine. Bao Yu was busy with something, but did not say to Yang Chen. Yang Chen does not worry about it anyway. Anyway, as long as she was inside the sect, he wants to do whatever Gao Yu wants. Yang Chen himself, once again began to busy himself with the absorption of the fire seeds. Of the 60 kinds of third-grade fire seeds, he had only absorbed 15, and there were 45 kinds left, each of which takes 4 or 5 days each, so it would take half a year to fully absorb them all. The days seemed to be good in calculation. When Yang Chen absorbed all 60 kinds of third-grade fire seeds into the profound spirit furnace, it happened to be the time of the appointment with the Blue Cloud sect. Along with Sect Master Lu's visit this time, he brought almost the exact same lineup as the last lineup of the Green Jade Immortal Island. Sect Master Lu himself, Elder Hua Wanting and Elder Shai Yan, plus Sun Kingsu, it was also the Sect Master with 2 elders and a disciple, who has a relationship with Yang Chen. This time, when the Blue Cloud sect came, they did not conceal it from the outsiders. Anyway, the last time the Island Master came to discuss the marriage of Yang Chen and Shai Zhanxian. This time, Sect Master Lu also had the same reason. When outsiders saw this, their first reaction was that the Blue Cloud sect wanted to draw Yang Chen. For more than half a year, the rumors about Zhanxian and Qiaming crossing their tribulation because of Yang Chen's refining of the inner sensing pill had been raging. Together with the questioning inner heart pill, such a senior alchemy master, almost all the sects wanted to have him. Even if there was no way to have him, they could have a good relationship with the Pure Yang Palace and Yang Chen. There were many sects who were more than willing to do this. In addition to the 2 major sects of the Green Jade Immortal Island and the Blue Cloud sect, they have used marriage with their own female disciples, including other first-class sects, such as the Greatest Heaven sect and 5 Element sect. They were also trying to form a close tie to the Pure Yang Palace. In recent months, countless sects have come to Myking Mountain for the guise of congratulating Elder Wang Yong, but they were trying to establish various cooperative relationships with the Pure Yang Palace. The master of the palace and several elders, plus everyone in the Foreign Affairs Hall, everyone was busy and they were all hard-pressed to receive these fellow practitioners. Yang Chen had already told Gao Yu about Sect Master Lu's visit. Gao Yu was not convinced at that time, but when Sect Master Lu really came to Myking Mountain, Gao Yu still appeared in front of Yang Chen. If you want to accept Fairy Shy and Snow Fairy, you must first accept Linger. Gao Yu seems to have been hiding from Yang Chen. Seeing Yang Chen, this was the first sentence she said. Listening to his master's words, Yang Chen couldn't believe his ears. Originally he thought that his master would not agree, so Yang Chen has not thought much about other things, just thinking about how to give more compensation to the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island, not to let Sun Guangxian and Shai Shanshan become sad. He did not expect his master to have this meaning. After Gao Yu finished, she did not give Yang Chen too many opportunities and left. Yang Chen was still dizzy and stayed in the same place until Elder Zhu Chengxin personally came to him to ask him to meet Sect Master Lu. Zhu Chengxin has become one of the elders since he reached the Yuning stage. He still has the position of a foreign affairs hallmaster. This time when Sect Master Lu visited, he was one of the reception elders, but he personally came to call Yang Chen. It was enough to give Yang Chen face. The details of the cooperation between the two sides have already had a preliminary communication through Yang Chen, and reaching an agreement was not a problem at all. Regarding the cooperation with the questioning inner heart pills, the master of the palace and several elders made a decision on the spot. The conditions were exactly the same as those of the Green Jade Immortal Island. Even the rewards for Yang Chen were exactly the same. In the past 3 years, the Blue Cloud sect was collecting the elixir needed to refine the pills. It could not be helped in saying that the big sects were indeed great. In just 3 years, it was not known where they got the medicinal materials needed for the refining, but they brought them directly to the head of the palace. This cooperation has already been laid to bed and there would be no more problems. However, Sect Master Lu still wanted to talk to Yang Chen personally. The Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island, because they were also the sects dominated by women, they were closer in relationship. This point, from when Shai Shanshan brought Sun Qingxu back for Sun Qingxu, eventually to be seen under the Blue Cloud sect. The relationship between the two sects was generally good. But this relationship, when Yang Chen gave the Green Jade Immortal Island the questioning inner heart pills, and there were a few that were the second grade questioning inner heart pills, naturally did not pass by Sect Master Lu. Sect Master Lu mainly wanted to see Yang Chen's main purpose. Her hopes were that when Yang Chen was refining the medicinal pills for the Blue Cloud sect, he should not favor one side and discriminate against the other. Of course, the words couldn't be said so straightforward and could only point to this meaning. In addition to this, Sect Master Lu had no other indications, just to indicate that Yang Chen could take Sun Qingxu to walk in the Pure Yang Palace. Young people should talk more and communicate with each other. Yang Chen was somewhat bewildered. Calling himself over this circle was really a bit of a fuss. However, in the case of Sun Qingxu, Yang Chen certainly did not say anything. After retiring from the elders, he left with Sun Qingxu and returned to his residence. Sun Xiaoxu didn't say much on the way. After waiting for them to reach Yang Chen's place, she signaled Yang Chen to arrange a soundproof restriction, and then she said, "Yang Daji, the Lord is ready to pay you in advance, you should first take it." As she said this, Sun Qingxu took out a lot of oil lamp-like things wrapped in a talisman, all of which were fire seeds. Interestingly, the number was the same as that of the Green Jade Immortal Island, but the types were different, all of which were increased by 50% on the original basis. It seems that they knew that Yang Chen could refine the second-grade questioning inner heart pill. And, this is the special command of the Lord, saying that it must be handed over to you. Finally, Sun Qingxu took out a jade box and sent it to Yang Chen's hand. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 330. I must consider. The box that Sun Qingxu took out was wide and flawless and made of jade that was warm and delicate. It was smooth with no markings on it. The box was like a whole piece of jade with no discernible opening. At the part that would normally be home to the keyhole, there was only a circular rune in the form of a variety of colored spots. After she gave it to Yang Chen, Sun Qingxu had something to say as well. The sovereign said that it is very important to thank you and that you shouldn't let other people see the contents. Yang Chen understood what she was trying to say. This was another reward from the Blue Cloud sect for finding the 8th metal true secret art. It was not like such a big sect to owe someone and delay repaying the debt by 3 years. Perhaps this item was the reason. What is inside of it? Yang Chen asked casually. He would naturally accept a reward that he had earned for himself. Had he not gone to the lengths of making a hard oath? This reward was well deserved and the Blue Cloud sect's behavior only served to prove it. I don't know. Sun Qingxu shook her head. The sovereign would not say and master would not tell me either. It had admittedly made her feel a little wronged. She was delivering the item but could not know what it was. Yang Chen knew that the reward was well deserved. The 8th metal true secret art was not a common essence cultivation method. On the same level, its power was at least twice as powerful as ordinary cultivation methods. This kind of powerful method, if equipped with enough 8th metal true essence, could definitely bring more masters to the Blue Cloud sect. In some ways, the 8th metal true secret art was not much worse than even the questioning inner heart pills. However, the jade box was tightly sealed and even Sun Kingsu did not know what was inside of it. This was a little strange. Moreover, he was told to not let other people see the contents. These other people should be referring to the Pure Yang Palace or the Green Jade Immortal Island, but there shouldn't be a problem with showing it to Sun Kingsu. Yang Chen's spiritual power immediately activated the rune when he placed his finger on it. Yang Chen knew that the Blue Cloud sect would not place a trap within. Firstly, Sun Kingsu was right next to him, and secondly, he had not yet handed over the questing inner heart pills. Moreover, Blue Cloud sect's leadership was very cautious and would never make such a mistake. Hacha. The rune shined before breaking, turning into a mess of scattered fragments. The jade box surprisingly was very easy to open. The rune had been there for security reasons, and clearly no one else had opened the jade box before Yang Chen. The rune functioned like a wax seal and would break upon opening the box. And inside the jade box was another, smaller jade box. The difference this time was that the gap between the boxes was engraved with a dense array method. A warmth could be felt even through the two-fold array. He could feel something familiar in the warmth. Yang Chen did not even need to open the jade box to know what it held. A fire seed of 6th grade. Purple Heart Profound Fire, a 6th grade 3rd fire. It was a full grade higher than the True Sun Fire and it was now in his hands. The True Sun Fire of the 5th grade had helped Yang Chen step into the realm of Great Principle Golden Immortal in his past life. What heights could he reach now? What was more important was that the Purple Heart Profound Fire was an higher grade version of the 4th grade Purple Heart Fire whose fire seed Yang Chen's master Gao Yu held. The Blue Cloud sect must have calculated Yang Chen's attitude toward his master. This reward was probably meant for both of them. To annoy Gao Yu was to provoke Yang Chen, and conversely, to please Gao Yu was to please Yang Chen. In this matter, Blue Cloud sect had hit the bullseye. But what if they had judged incorrectly? Even if Yang Chen did not want to share the fire seed with his master, he would still need a lot himself. It was a bet that the Blue Cloud sect could not lose. The gift made Yang Chen pleasantly surprised. It was unexpected, but it was very much welcome. The Blue Cloud sect didn't need to say out loud what their intentions were. From where he had found all the 2nd grade questioning inner heart pills, perhaps he could find 1 or 2 more. Haha. Sun Kingsu was a wood attribute cultivator and naturally was not fond of such strong flames. Realizing that it was a 6th grade fire seed, she completely lost interest. Her task finished, she pulled Yang Chen along to go touring. Meanwhile, at Myking Mountain many things were now different. The new mountain gate's reconstruction was finished and it was in many ways different from the previous one. After Yang Chen took Sun Kingsu for a short walk, he did not dare waste any more time. After all, Sect Master Lu and the head of the palace were waiting for them. So, the two quickly returned to the main hall. He didn't know what Sect Master Lu and the head of the palace had discussed. But it seemed that both sides had some doubts and so a conclusion hadn't been reached as of now. The two sides took the opportunity of their return to suspend their talks and then exempted them. In the evening, Sect Master Lu and his entourage were arranged to stay in a luxurious residence for important guests and Yang Chen was called to the Blue Vault Mountain Immortals Cave to discuss official business. "Has the Blue Cloud sect given you the remuneration for the alchemy?" asked the head of the palace. Yang Chen nodded in admission. However, he did not reveal the Purple Heart Profound Fire as the time was not suitable. Moreover, he had taken a hard oath and thus could not provide them with a satisfactory explanation for it. "Then you may refine the questioning heart pills for them," sighed the master of the palace. After directing Yang Chen on this matter, the palace master told him that the two-party had not finished negotiation today. Sect Master Lu said that they were interested in the inner sensing pills and want to buy the pill recipe from my sect. I have not promised them anything yet. Accompanying the master of the palace and welcoming the Blue Cloud sect were the Daching stage masters Wang Yong and the old tree demon Gi Shanyu, even hallmaster Zhu Qingxin had the role of running errands. It was such an important affair that even the other elders were not told what had been discussed until they heard it from the palace head himself. Yang Chen and the others pondered on the unknown conditions proposed by the Blue Cloud sect, which even the palace master was unwilling to agree with. They found it strange, but they found it stranger yet that the Blue Cloud sect hadn't simply taken the inner sensing pills recipe from the hands of the monster race. It made Yang Chen sigh in regret. "Yang Chen, what is your estimate on this?" asked the head of the palace after indulging for a while. "If we gave the Blue Cloud sect the pill recipe, how long do you think it will be before they will be able to refine the grade 2 inner sensing pill?" Although Yang Chen already promised this to the head of the palace in front of Elder Wang Yong, at the moment, in front of all the elders, Yang Chen replied with respect according to this disciple's estimate, it is almost 200 years, and if they are slow, for hundreds of years, it is unlikely if they will succeed in a shorter time. It's not that Yang Chen was arrogant, it was really that his Great Principle Golden Immortal controlling fire technique was not something that the mortal world fire controlling experts could imagine. Several kinds of 5th grade fire seeds were controlled at the same time. Even if it was a genius fire cultivator, it would take at least 100 years to do it. If the method of refining the pill and the method of refining the 2nd grade pill were counted, this time was absolutely tight. Even if they went to a 6th grade alchemy master, he would not be able to solve this problem in just 200 years. Even Yang Chen, after seeing the elderly Lord Pill scripture, plus the profound pill scripture left by a certain immortal, made this reference in just 6 months. Otherwise, the poor Yang Chen in this lifetime could not achieve the 2nd grade refining system of the inner sensing pill. Although the elderly lord was powerful, Yang Chen was still more and more experienced in this seemingly inconspicuous mortal small medicinal refining system. With the guarantee from Yang Chen face to face, the master of the palace became more and more emboldened. The elders also understood the focus of the Pure Yang Palace and the Blue Cloud sect. Originally, they would have negotiated the use of the 2nd grade inner sensing pill for the greatest benefit. Now it was natural to push the benefits that the inner sensing pill could reach to the limit. According to this disciple, since the Green Jade Immortal Island and the Blue Cloud sect both have a relationship with my sect, this recipe of the inner sensing pill, my ancestral sect, should give it to them as a gift. Yang Chen saw that everyone was temporarily indulging and not taking the initiative, so he said. Everyone was shocked. Looking at Yang Chen, it seems that they didn't understand how Yang Chen would do this loss-making business. But soon Zhu Chentao reacted and his eyes lit up. He immediately smiled and said good idea. Since this 1st grade inner sensing pill cannot play much role, then it is easy to bring up the importance of the 2nd grade pill more and more, you can then open the price later. Zhu Chentao's words made everyone nod. Since the other sect had other chances to get the 1st grade inner sensing pill recipe, they should simply make a personal feeling and give it to the other party. When the other party found out that the 1st grade inner sensing pill did not have the power that was speculated, it was then that they would be able to take the 2nd grade inner sensing pill and set a price. Okay, we will just do it like that. The head of the palace also slightly nodded, he was very appreciative of Yang Chen's idea. At first, he just thought about getting the biggest benefit, but he didn't want to hurt the sincerity of the cooperation between the two sides if they didn't know the strength of the 2nd grade pill to the strength of the 1st grade pill. Yang Chen only said a little point and everyone understood. If this was given to the other party, it was not necessarily a loss-making business. It was not necessarily for the Blue Cloud sect to owe a favor to the Pure Yang Palace. When the real 2nd grade inner sensing pill turned to the end of the inspection, the price of it would be derived and at the same time, without losing money, it would also be a person of the Blue Cloud sect, which was a business that makes a profit. Yang Chen, this time sect master Lu came and also mentioned the snow dance fairy and your marriage. After determining the strategy of the pill recipe, the head of the palace directly changed the topic and asked Yang Chen your master does not object, what do you think about it? His master did not object, Yang Chen was not surprised. Not long ago, his master had already said this to Yang Chen. Regardless of whether Yang Chen wants the snow dance fairy or fairy shy, he must first consider his senior sister, Gongsun Ling. However, it was because of the reminder of Gao Yu that Yang Chen realized another thing. Did he really want to become a double cultivation Dao companion with Sun Qingxu and Shai Zhanxian? This question, Yang Chen himself has no answer until now. Both women were glamorous and unparalleled characters and they were all geniuses with excellent qualifications to the extreme. They were famous and cultivated to the pinnacle. No matter which aspect, accepting the two women was a very good thing. But Yang Chen asked himself if he could pass his own. His own heart has not given an answer to this question. In this case, Yang Chen did not hesitate to give an answer immediately. This disciple still want to consider it again. Yang Chen replied truthfully, not paying any attention to his own answer, causing the surprise of the elders. This kind of good thing has to be considered. Elder Zheng Feng fully demonstrated his nature in charge of the treasury of course, good things must first be bagged for security, procrastinating, finally, how could it not be cheap for others? The disciple is still not sure if he wants it. Yang Chen smiled and laughed at himself one day if this disciples really want to, this disciples will go to their sect to ask for the marriage personally, instead of the elders of the two sides deciding it. Why, do you want to set such a good thing aside, are you still not willing? Elder Meng Xian's eyes glanced, he was angry and self-defeating. Of course, the disciple does not think so. Yang Chen replied with a smile. He knew that no matter how the elders get angry with him, it doesn't mean anything to him, but everyone's ideas were different. After a pause, Yang Chen looked for the right words, and then he said. The disciples just have no answer. When I have figured it out, this disciple would naturally face the two fairies to determine the matter. You are not afraid to get a hot head when you shave your head. Gao Xian was the master ancestor of Gongsun Ling. He was very concerned about Gongsun Ling's affairs. When Yang Chen temporarily refused Fairy Shy and the Snow Dance Fairy, he was the happiest one and joked, you don't want to succeed now, when you have a name and a flower, how about you? That's what I didn't want, disciple didn't force me. Yang Chen replied calmly. If the two fairies do not agree, then what? Gao Xian still said in such a tone no matter whether it is the Blue Cloud sect or the Green Jade Immortal Island would be so embarrassed. If you are willing and the two main sects disagree, what about you? If the two fairies are not willing, this disciple will not force them. Although Yang Chen still smiled but his tone revealed a very strong self-confidence, but if it is for other reasons, please forgive the disciples, even if the Green Jade Immortal Island and the Blue Cloud sect have obstructed, the results would be the same. If this disciple wants to do it, I will be able to do it, no one can stop me. When Yang Chen's words were said, this time all the elders were silent. Originally, Gao Xian still had a refutation in his heart but suddenly thought about Yang Chen's record in recent years, whether it was the greatest heaven sect or the second city lord of the monster race, 100,000 mountain, or the questioning inner heart pill, heaven seizing pill and inner sensing pill. In the later period, Luo Yuan's pursuit, now he could not find an example that could refute Yang Chen. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more.